of your hand makes my pulse react. That it's only the thrill of boy meeting girl, opposites attract. It's physical, only logical. You must try to ignore that it means more than that. Oh, what's love got to do with it? What's love but a second-hand emotion? What's love got to do with it? Who needs a heart when a heart can be broken? It may seem to you that I'm acting confused when you're close to me. If I tend to look dazed, I read it someplace, I've got cause to be. There's a name for it. There's a phrase that fits. But whatever the reason, you do it for me. Oh, what's love got to do with it? What's love but a second-hand emotion? What's love got to do with it? Who needs a heart when a heart can be broken? I've been taking on a new direction, but I have to say, I've been thinking about my own protection. It scares me to feel this way. Oh, what's love got to do with it? What's love but a second-hand emotion? What's love got to do with it? Who needs a heart when a heart can be broken? What's love got to do with it? What's love but a sweet old-fashioned notion? What's love got to do with it? Who needs a heart when a heart can be broken? Who got to do with it? What's love got to do with it? Who needs a heart when a heart can be broken?
Prendi sopra gli occhi, respiri lentissimi senza far rumore mai. Segui solo il suono dei miei passi e fidati, ti porteranno dove io ti porterò. Via da qui, via da qui, via da qui, via da qui, c'è un mondo d'altri tempi, dove tutto è perfetto, ancora è perfetto, e l'uomo può credere che di tempo ce n'è abbastanza per rimediare a sé. Mani strette intorno ad un filo di odori che non credi aver sentito mai, e ti perdi in quello che tu non conosci, provando a immaginare dove io ti porterò. Via da qui, via da qui, via da qui, via da qui, c'è un mondo d'altri spazi, dove tutto è perfetto, ancora è perfetto, e l'uomo vuol credere che di tempo ce n'è abbastanza emozioni dolcissime che tu non hai mangiato mai. Ha il sapore d'infinito questo sguardo e ti porterà dove poi io ti lascerò. Via da qui, via da qui, via da qui, via da qui, c'è un mondo d'altri mondi dove tutto è perfetto, per sempre perfetto, e tu potrai credere che il tempo ce n'è abbastanza per rimediare.
Oh god. Yeah, it doesn't work. I knew it wouldn't work. It never works, does it? Shitty webcam, man. Oh. What's with the white balance? Hold on, chat. Alright, let me turn the music off. Shut up. Shut up, Mr. Italian. Oh, sorry guys for being late. I was working on this, which in that colour is probably going to look like absolute vomit. It's a blueberry raspberry smoothie, because I need to eat something. Obviously it has to be healthy, you know, because if it ain't healthy then we're going to die from freaking corona or some shit. Let me try to fix this. What the fuck? Basically my freaking webcam doesn't work. So like I spent like 2 minutes trying to set it up, but you know me. I'm an imbecile for this thing, so I can't do anything. So whilst I'm doing this, you guys can just chat, just foreheads. What is that? That does nothing. That does nothing. So that doesn't matter. Color range. Partial versus full. Full actually looks worse than partial. What in the fuck? So I guess I have to have less color on my face. No idea what buffering is. No idea. You know what? I'm just gonna go with it. It's fine. This is fine. Okay. Death range in our age group is 0.3% for the world. Look at that. So you're saying there's a chance? Let me just plug that out. This cable plugged in, so you can probably hear the static. Yeah. Are you going to play something, Orange? Am I going to play something? Those of you who don't follow me on Instagram probably don't know, but I've bought a PlayStation 4. No joke, mate. I've actually bought a PlayStation. Because our TV died. And I figured it might be a good time to actually invest into a PlayStation for the first time ever. So I've been playing Red Dead Redemption a little bit. I figured, you know, since Corona's around, actually it's not a bad thing. Can't say I really like it so far, because you're just running around all the time, and is there no fast travel options? It's been kind of pissing me off. Anyway, yeah. What's your PSN? Not going to tell you that. Did cooking school get put on hold as well? Yes, obviously because I'm a what are they called? Hold on, no, I don't want to sound a special student. I'm not a special student, but irregular student. Basically, I pay for school, which means I don't have to actually go there. So I go there seldom, but no, Jesus,
Here we go.
that still
Money
works.
talks.
Here comes the money.
People still throwing money away, man. Your cam is shaking. Yeah, I know why it's shaking, dude. It's because I'm shaking the tables. When I shake the table, the camera shakes. You know, I got big arms now, dude. You know, shit. I don't know what can I do about that. I'm just gonna try not to touch the table, right? Just trying to make that a deal. I'll just sit like this, try not to touch the table. SVK Paradox, thank you for subbing for 7 months, mate. 7 months of me not playing the game. So show some bicep. I don't got much bicep, dude. Like I've been working out barely, last 2 months. It's kind of hard to get muscle because what I'm doing is I'm combining working out with cycling, and the issue is that when you're working out, you should be bulking, right? So eating a shitload of protein. To be cycling, you have to eat a shitload of carbohydrates. So basically, like what I'm doing is two completely opposite things, which is sort of, yeah, it's a pain. It's difficult. Like I have to get up in weight, but every time I go on a bike, I lose weight. I was at 75 kilos last week, and now I'm back at 73. And throughout this stream, you're going to notice that what I'm going to do a lot, I'm going to do a lot of this. I have issues with deep breaths. I don't know why. For the last week and a half, I have not been able to do deep breaths, and it's been absolutely fucking killing me, especially on the bike. If my pulse goes over 160, I just start like gasping like a fucking whale. Imagine dying for months and still having over 200 viewers. 200 viewers, man. I don't even see where the freaking viewers are. Because like ever since they've changed Twitch, I don't actually understand how to use it. The new stream manager... Sorry, I'm shaking the freaking camera again. The stream manager is abysmal. I don't like that one bit. Also, if somebody can tell me why my webcam doesn't work the way it's supposed to, yeah, that'd be great. It's hard to eat ever more because you'll be so full. Well, what I started doing is 2 things I did. I started waking up in the morning because I got so much to talk about, man. I don't know where to start. Okay, so I got a job for the first time ever in my life. I got a job. Not because I had to get a job, but because I had to get a job, right? It's part of the school. You have to do 400 hours. When I got there, I didn't really know what to expect because I knew it was going to be culinary based, obviously. So I remember I was in school. The guy gives me a call, and it was right between classes. And I pick up the phone, like the dude's like, yeah, blah blah blah. You know, like, can you come tomorrow? And I'm like, tomorrow, like I'm, big brain time. Sure, Wednesday. I can come tomorrow. He's like, okay, come at 6. And I'm standing there, I'm like, I'm thinking, and my brain's like, should I ask? And I was like, do you mean 6 in the morning? He's like, yeah, 6 in the fucking morning. And I'm like, fuck. Like, to give you contrast, 2 years ago, I would wake up, on average, at 11 a.m., right? I would wake up basically at noon. Then I started going to university last year. Last year I would have to wake up at roughly, I was waking up at like 7:15, right? Around about 7. For the school I go to now, I would wake up at 6:30 to have breakfast and get there for 8:30 class. To get to this work at 6, whilst also having a breakfast and a morning shit, that's 4:20. So waking up at 4:20. I went from being a person who would wake up at fucking 11 to waking up at 4:20. And I loved it. I don't know what it was, but I loved it. The morning commute was amazing. There was no traffic. You get into this work. Hello, focus, mate. I didn't know what to expect because my initial expectation was that this was going to be a job that I was not going to enjoy. I walk in there. And the guy gives me I was late, by the way. The first day I was late. Classic. I was running a bit late. So I get my cooking gown on. I got my knives, blah, blah, blah. I walk into the kitchen. The guy shows me around. And you have the hot kitchen. I think it's not called the hot kitchen, is it? Well, you got the main kitchen. You got this thing called cold kitchen. You got the patisserie. So the cakes and shit. And then you got the prep work. And the guy just circles me around the whole place into the prep workstation. He's just like, this is it. This is where you're going to be. And I look around, and it was in that moment when I realized that this is a tiny room. It's not a tiny room, right? But it fits about 6 to 7 people. They have this old beaten up radio that only plays one station. They only have it set to one station, and it's rock radio. Holy fuck, it's a life changer. Right? Like being there and having consistently good music playing without you having to tinker around your phone. Like one of the biggest issues with Stream, I've got amazing music, but every once in a while, even I'm driving in a car, and like I've got a brilliant playlist and then, I don't feel like this song, swipe. All the time you're just swiping the freaking songs. So I get there and I didn't know what work they were going to give me, right? And funny as this sounds, I got exactly what I wished I would get. Chopping shit. Like quite literally, they'll tell you, look, there's a paper they have, and it says we gotta prep up this much carrots and this, they have these French expressions. So you've got like concassé and julienne, you probably know, like strips. So you literally just go through shitloads of veggies, shitloads of fruit. You do meat packing, you do fish packing. What I like about it is that it's not consistent. Sorry, what am I trying to say? It's not repetitive. You don't do the same thing over and over again. It's not like you walk into the office, you sit down, it's like, okay, now we're going to do the exact same thing we did yesterday, and then we're going to do the exact same thing tomorrow. You never know what you're going to get. You walk into the morning, the produce you're getting might be late, the produce you're getting might be wrong, it might be rotten, it might be good quality, bad quality. And I loved it. I loved being there because one thing is, I worked there yesterday. Unfortunately, no work today, no work for the next 2 weeks, obviously because of the quarantine. But we finished I started at 6, finished at 12, so 6-hour shift. When I came out at 12 and I was driving home, like, I felt like it was 5 p.m. But the realization that there's still, freaking 5-6 hours until 5 a.m. I can still go on the bike, I can still work out, I can make lunch, I can go for a 1-hour nap, which I also did. And all of that fits into the day, and at the end of the day, you feel tired in a way that you actually go to sleep and you actually sleep. Whereas normally when I used to stream, I'd stream until 10, then I'd go have a meal, maybe you smoke a spliff. You're up until 3 in the morning doing some crappy editing, and then you get shitty sleep. You don't actually get a good night's rest. Wake up at 11, and your breakfast is essentially other people's lunch. So the old habit would never allow me to actually do what am I trying to say, man? Yeah, to start bulking. So I gotta have some of this smoothie, man. I've been sitting here speaking for freaking 15 minutes, not even had my drink. Oh, that's actually not that bad. I have to get used to this protein shake thing. This was 2017. I bought on Amazon creatine powder, glutamine powder, amino something that I don't use, and whey. I opened it, I tried it, and then I had it sitting in my fucking thing, my cupboard. So I opened it a few days ago, and I realized this thing is about to expire, or it has expired like a few months ago, and I was like, shit, I might as well use it, Hold on, I had some questions up here. Good to see you again, Sestron. Very much the same, my dude. Arado, what was on the menu today? Fried bat. The menu today, I went to the store. Basically, my family, they're a bit... if you guys type something, type whatever emote you want. If you ever watched, I think it was on National Geographic, it may have been Discovery. No, probably Discovery Channel. Doomsday Preppers. I watched this with one of my best friends on a road trip we did. Wow, this was in 3rd or 2nd grade of high school, so this has been like 6-7 years since then. Anyway, the Doomsday Preppers, these American families that like build bunkers and shit and, hoard all this food. Yeah, my family's a bit like that. So my family hoards a shitload of food. I had a couple of friends over a year ago, and one of them said, dude, if there's ever an apocalypse, I'm gonna break into your house, because, yeah, that much supply. So I guess my parents are a bit paranoid, but I thought about it, and this is my thought process. For the next 2 weeks, our country's under quarantine, right? So there's no schools, stores are going to be open, I guess, but there's no work, there's nothing to be done. So for the next 2 weeks, all I'm going to be doing is some schoolwork, shitload of cycling, shitload of working out, and obviously I have to eat. So I thought, if I go to the store today and I get all the shit that I might need, and I just prep it and I freeze it, or I put it in the fridge, and I have enough food to sufficiently last me for 2 weeks without me having any issues, say, wow, man, Curry Muncher, thank you for the link, dude.
Hi, Orange.
Hi there, man. Let's have a look at what you linked me. This is going to be loud. You're still linking... You know what? I remember this. You're still linking this. I'm not going to play it, though, mate. Thank you for the one euro, dude. I appreciate that. That's going to go towards something. I don't really know. Anyway, so I went to the store, and my thought process was this. Being in the supermarket today, I think, has a much smaller percentage of me getting infected than going to the supermarket in 2 weeks. Because the percentage of people is only going to go up, right, if anything. So I went into the store, and I didn't know what to expect. I was expecting, like, maybe there were going to be empty shelves, but the shelves were completely full. The problem is I couldn't get a fucking shopping cart because they were literally all taken out, stolen and some shit. So I picked up a bunch of stuff, and when I got to the meat section, there was a line. I shit you not, probably like 25 people. And I looked at the line and I thought, dude, no, because it's the meat section starts with beef, goes to pork, goes to poultry, and I thought there's no way in hell any of that meat is worth me waiting in line. I'm sorry, as the 26th person. So I skipped the line, and I see the fish section is completely empty, right? And I walk by, and they got, I don't want to say this wrong, so I'm just going to translate real quick. Why in the hell am I getting Latin? I got sea bass. I should know this. I was an English student. I misspelled, and it still came out as a fish. That's interesting. Why? I got salmon, I got sea bass, and I got... can you give me the translation, goddammit? And a sea beam. Anyway, so I cleaned those. Jesus.
Here we go.
Mr. Doom. People be scary me, man. Yeah, I got those fishes, and the sea bass and the sea whatever the fuck it is. I filleted those, and they went into the freezer. As for, is the stream gonna die? It might die. Nope, it's holding on by a thread. No, it died though, didn't it? Sea bastards. Oh, it seems like the internet still hasn't been fixed, and it's been what, like 7 months. Does it work? I mean, it works for me. Yeah, so I had salmon today. I basically had salmon twice. Now I'm having this smoothie. I'm going to have a bit of this in a little bit, just a bit of a snack. And I'm probably going to have some food later. I don't know, I'm taking the evening off. I don't really have any plans for today. All right. Next question is from President of Mars. Good evening. When are we going to see a video of you cycling in nice nature? I actually have 2 videos. Hold on. What if can I show you guys this? I mean, this is on Instagram, but I don't want to bother with Instagram. These are videos. I've made some of this. Where is it? Edits? I don't want to... Don't be full volume, please. I'm just gonna show you the video, and this is... I put this on Instagram, so this does exist on Instagram, but it wasn't like... I've been thinking about putting something like this on YouTube. I'll just play in the background whilst we chat about some of the stuff. It's just a descent that I did, and the metrics, it's stuck at 10 kilometers, which it shouldn't be. Let me put it into full screen for you there. It's just a descent. This was GoPro Hero 7. There's also a smudge right here, which I should have cleaned off. But this is the type of content that I was interested about making, maybe adding some commentary, playing around more with color correction. I still haven't gotten the settings dialed in. And yeah, with all the quarantine bullshit, we'll see.
Here comes the money.
I'll read those out in a second. Can you use the PS4 with a PC monitor? As long as it has HDMI, you can, but we now have a 75-inch TV, which is freaking massive, dude. Jeez, that's so many people. You know, you can see I haven't streamed it so long. I can't even read the chat. Do you have any tips or recommendations on healthy food? I'm working out and running, etc. Lost 1 kilogram in 1 week, 3 days. I don't feel progress enough. 1.1 kilograms in 1 week and 3 days. Make it easy for me and just say 10 days, right? Because 1 week and 3 days is 10 days. And 1 kilogram in 10 days.
Do you see any idea in hoarding toilet paper? I mean, brew, just wash your bum.
1 kilogram in 10 days is actually amazing progress. I have the opposite like I want to go up. So you're asking the wrong person, right? Because I'm trying to gain weight. This, you know, it all relates on how much you're actually weighing right now. Because the amount of weight you have is, in my opinion, very dictative of that, like where your weight is going to go. Because if you're very heavy, maybe I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that very, very fat people tend to have a harder time losing weight, at least in the beginning. Just build a routine. When it comes to healthy food, just realize that the stuff you should be staying away from when trying to lose weight is stuff that's high in calorie intake, right? It's quite simple. The average human being, I think adult, I think we burn between 2,000 and 2,500 calories. So do a basic look at what you're eating through your weekly basis and just try not to consume more than 2,500 calories. You're trying to make a calorie deficit. There's actually some food that I think has negative calories, like celery, but don't go out eating 10 pounds of celery because it's disgusting. Well, let me try to actually catch up with chats here. If I've missed any questions, please type them again. I literally can't. Like I've only now come to the point where everybody was spamming Fs because the stream died. Funny song remix link. Thank you, Lumberjack. Welcome back, mate. Quetzal, never say hi to you. Your Discord server lost partnership. I know, I got the email. Vanity URL's gone, so there's no joining back when somebody's kicked or just leaves. I really couldn't give a fuck. Cooking stream, not at the moment. Look at this dude with the quarantine. Imagine. Oh, that's in the okay. Not so dead. 22 months. Thank you very much, man. Getting a virus named after a beer. I've actually been craving Corona ever since the coronavirus because Corona is expensive as shit. Do you see any ideas in hoarding toilet paper? I mean, just wash your bum. I guess not the problem of washing your bum is that I don't want to go there, dude. Like, if you've ever shit in the freaking bathtub, which some people have, I'm not going to say I have because I haven't. But yeah. I've heard stories of people stomping shit down the drain, man. It's not good. Do you like weed, man? Everybody likes weed, dude. Except for psycho people, I guess. Looks a lot like Luxembourg, I guess. Make a bicycle montage. I made a montage of... let me see if I can find it. There was another... I only have 2 clips for you guys to see. The next one is this. This was a clip of... I called it Hupsa. Hupsa in our language is like a... It's like a punchy short climb. It's not necessarily an actual climb. It's just like a short, heavy effort, hard effort. And this was on one ride. And I had a couple of these Hupsas, so I just sort of made a montage of them. Anyway. I was 79.5 kilograms, not 78.4. Okay, first tip for you, President Mars, is stop focusing on the 0.4. I don't think my scale even does 0.4. Just round it up. Choose a goal. Choose the weight that you want to get to. And in the case of you, since you're weighing 80 kilograms, or was, what's your height? Because weight means nothing without height, right? Like 80 kilograms at 6'3", which is my height, would be optimal. Whereas at 5'3", might be a bit fat. What is the fastest you've ever cycled? The fastest I've cycled was, I think I went 85k just on Wednesday on a descent. But yeah, my goal is to go 100, but we'll see. The fastest you've ever driven a car? My car doesn't go more than 170. I may have pushed 175, but really, the only way for my car to go to the 220, which is advertised on the speed dial, is if you threw it off a cliff. People talking about ectomorph, mesomorph, and endomorph. Look it up. Oh, yeah, I remember that, and I kind of forgot what it is, but yeah, it rings a bell. For me, I'm definitely the... Am I an endomorph or am I an ecto? No, I don't know. My brain's fried, dude. My brain's fried. All right, back down. What's your opinion on the COVID-19 in your country? I mean, in my country is the same as in any other country. It's not a big difference. Gained 33 kilograms in 6 years. So 74 to 107 now. Just started eating every day, 3 hours. Right, but Aventador, here's my problem, right? My current weight is 73. The weight that I want to go to, my current plan is to bulk to 80 and then cut to about 75 to 77. The reason for this is because I cycle so much. I'm not working out in order to look like, The Rock. I'm working out because I want to have my body look good, right? But I also want to retain the strength on the bike. And because on the bike, climbing is a big portion, right? Right here, you're about to see, this was the hardest of the climbs that I did. Short, punchy. The bike that I'm riding here weighs about 8 kilograms. Okay? Now, I could spend, there's no limit on how much you can spend on a bike. But you can get your bike to weigh, there's a Slovenian dude who actually made a bike that weighs less than 4 kilograms. So, wow, I can half the weight of my bike. But what's 4 kilograms? That's like 6 really good shits, So it's way easier for you as a cyclist to lose weight and therefore lose the total weight, right? So the weight of the bike doesn't really matter. It's the combined weight that should be the effect. So it's very difficult because I have to balance one with the other. And because I've been training like a absolute maniac on the bike, I've got about 2.5k now in 2020. Yeah, it's been kind of painful. I call it fake flat. You think of going flat, but it's like a little climb. Yeah, we literally have a word for it. It's hupsa, but I don't think anything in English exists as such. I've been listening to a lot of Vinny Vici trance music, and I've been loving it. Have you got any other artists I could listen to? I've discovered a lot of things lately. I recommend Tin Liquor and Groom. So let me just play some of them. Let me open up YouTube here. Why is it YouTube Studio? Go away. I'm gonna find a song here just to play for you. Right, so Groom I really liked, and what did I say? Tin Liquor. Tin Liquor was very nice. It's not psytrance, but it's electronic, so you're probably gonna like it. Which one was good? This one. I'll just play in the background. What car do you drive? I drive an Opel Meriva, 1.2 litre monster truck engine. Yeah, it's a trash car, but that's all I need. So, how's Slovenia around June? Hopefully corona-free, but around June is beautiful. It's been beautiful this week. Wednesday, I did a 112-kilometre ride. Actually, I should show you this, because those of you guys who are not on Strava have not seen this. This was the ride. I've been planning this one for a while. Trying to get it to look like this. This is the ride. I was very, very, very happy how it came out. So started off with a climb here. You can see actually the what is it called? The terrain, right? So climb here, over and back up with the climb, then a really big fat climb here. This is where I descended at 85k an hour. It says 86 here. Very proud of this ride, 4 hours and 20 minutes, 29 kilometer an hour average, which is really, really good. And the discrepancy in the moving time and the elapsed times, because there was a really, really bad crash that happened at the start of this climb here. I was just sort of stuck there waiting. So very, very happy how this one came out. Now, where's my webcam? Hello there, people. Yeah, I'm still alive, man. All right. What is the largest climb you've done on a bike? So far, I've only done... It's about 1 kilometer. About 1 kilometer climb. That's height, not distance, obviously. But yeah, I have plans to do some more climbing, but I have to wait. I have to wait for it to be warm again. Did you use any cycling training programs to train? No, I don't train on a bike to say. I just sort of ride. I find it to be more enjoyable than actually following a training regime. Same with working out. I had 2 guys that made me a workout regime, and I said, fuck it, and I just started working out myself. I made... I don't know if this is an actual thing. When you're doing a plank, right, when you're planking, what I started doing is, so the middle of the plank, I would take one foot and bend it backwards, and then sort of do, like, crutches with the other foot. I don't know if that makes... I don't know how to explain it. I'd rather even show it, but I can't, because I'm in complete pain right now from the actual workout. But yeah, it flexes the leg, and what I absolutely love is because when you're riding the bike, you don't necessarily see how much muscle you're building up, and then when you actually do an exercise like that, and you look down and you see your leg, and your leg is like, you can see the muscles forming, and it's, well, I don't want to say it's sexy. It's pretty attractive, yeah. Sweden's going to stop testing for corona, so that means we're not going to have any cases here anymore. But seriously, our government thinks that it's unnecessary to test. I mean, it's necessary to test and then actually, separate and say, okay, this is and this isn't a problem. Yeah. How much do you squat? I don't squat because I'm working with 2 regular weights, and I just basically I do push-ups, I do sit-ups, I do planks, this adjusted plank, couple of crunches, or is that a squat? It is a squat, I guess. Just I don't have a bar. One thing I'd love to do is the bench thing, right? I'm not a gym dude, right? If you're gonna tell me gym things, I literally don't understand any of it. So yeah, I need to start doing some back works because my back's absolutely killing me. I feel like a 70-year-old dude. Bench press, yeah, I want to do some bench presses. Turkey has 0 cases. They haven't tested a single person. I think India for a long time had 0 people. I might still, because India's got so many other freaking diseases there. And mods, we got a donger in the chat, man. Jesus Christ. Oh man. PP small. I'm 180 centimeters, but I will keep my current workout schedule since I didn't know losing 1 kilogram in 10 days is good. Well, I mean, you know, is good. Like, you could have lost 10 kilograms in 10 days if you didn't eat anything, and, you know, but then you'd be starving. Deadlifts, the best for your back. I'm thinking about getting an actual, the long bar and just putting on weights there. Also, one thing I looked at was there was a podcast with Joe Rogan, and I think it's Peter, it's a Russian dude that does a lot of advertising for the kettlebell. And he said that a kettlebell exercise that where you like swing it between your legs and then extend it, that's a really good exercise for pretty much most of your body. I might get behind that because the kettlebell is a really easy one to go. I think the recommended one is 16 kilos-ish for me. Sorry, dude, gotta go. I've been a long time watcher of your channel. You got me from below average to above average in War Thunder. Love your channel. Hope that we can see a surprise video in the future. See you around, man. Thank you, dude. But you won't be seeing a video on. I feel like Mike goes boom, mate. Sometimes I can't make it. Sorry, Mike. I still love you, dude. Not going to be a video on War Thunder. That much I can confirm. Haven't played it. Haven't logged. Well, I did log in once. I have logged into War Thunder. I think it was a month ago. I was drunk as fuck and I played 3 games, felt bored and just went to sleep. I've been in the gym for 2 years. The progress is insane, and indeed bulks in the winter, cut in the spring. Yeah, here's the thing. I mean, obviously with the corona, even less incentive for me to actually go to the gym. But with all the work I'll be doing, with cycling taking up much of my time, I don't have the time to go to the gym. Right? I don't want to pay for a membership. I don't want to be bothered to exercise in front of other people. I like my little privacy. I like it as a routine. You know, I use it as a, like, if I'm very emotional. The last couple of days, basically since October, since the breakup, I've had, you know, ups and downs as it goes. So a couple of days where I feel amazing and I feel strong, and then they come days like yesterday was a kind of a day where I was finishing the day and I was just depressed as shit. Like, I was really, really feeling it. And I worked out, and boom, I got appetite. I got, you know, the sort of tiredness that you need to actually be able to fall asleep, and I loved it. Loved it. Cycle with Joe Rogan. I would love to cycle with Joe Rogan. Any story about your cat sleeping in the cupboard? Dude, the cat, she just comes in the room. I didn't know she was there. That's the creepy thing. Right? I went in the morning, I went to get my, because I have, like, where the basket is, that basket used to have, still has my socks in it. And then I have my undies in front of that. So I went to get my undies, and I reach in, and I hear the cat just go like, oh, oh, and I'm like, what the fuck? You know, like, I'm still in that slumber mode, you know, when you've just woken up. I'm like, what in the shit are you doing here? Oh, yeah, I love it. You need to invest into a squat rack. What is a squat? I'm going to have to Google everything here, man. Me and my gym speak. Squat rack. Yeah, I don't want to put that in my room, dude. There was an idea. An idea was that where I have my bikes, to transfer that place, because it's an old garage, into a workout room, but I don't work out enough. One thing I'd love to have is a bar to do pull-ups. That's one thing I really, really miss and really want to do, because I know it's good for your back. But yeah, try calisthenics. That's what I'm basically doing at the moment. Maybe I've been going a bit overkill on the abdomen. I've got a 6-pack that's like a good 6-pack now. I'm happy with the current growth of the biceps, but my lead problem is pectoral muscles, right? I feel like this is where I'm weak, so I've been doing like a shitload of push-ups. But to give you some contrast, at the start of the year, because I started January 1st, I started. And January 1st, I couldn't do 10 consecutive push-ups. No go. Now I can do 5 sets of 10 easily, right? Which is, it's insane, right? It doesn't sound like a lot. To people who go to the gym, for people who have, you know, done this for a while, for people who actually exercise for most of their childhood, it's not a big deal. But for someone who just started, you know, and it was like a scrawny little, you know, gaming cunt, I'm very happy, man. Very proud. Hopefully things calm down. I think I'll go to Ljubljana this summer. Any other recommendations for the future? What, you mean like for visiting? The country's beautiful, and the best part is that everything's accessible. In a day, you can visit any part of the country, right? Like, it's not like America, you know, where you miss an intersection and in the other fucking state. I don't know if you remember our talk about Netflix, but I watched Black Sails as you recommended me. You loved it. I've watched Black Sails at least 2 times, if not 3 times. I loved it. Loved it, yeah. Calisthenics is good to get stronger, but if you really want to get bigger, eat and start working with heavyweights. I don't want to get bigger. This is the thing. Like I said, I want to stay between 75 and 77 kilograms, right? Basically, I just want those muscles that exist to be, like, how do I say this? If I look at my legs before and after cycling, or at least cycling seriously, the legs are there, the muscles are there, but you want the muscles to be visible, you know, like, call it, you know, weird flex, but okay. The rest of the body too, you know, you want some of the strength, but when it comes to being on the bike's the goal, which means light and power. You need to find, you know, sort of a merge of the two. And what I'm afraid of going too hard on the bike and too little on the workout, or rather the food, which could result in me yet again going backwards, meaning that I'm burning muscle, you know, because the speed remains, the power sort of remains, but the body's just becoming a, you know. Yeah, Gaijin have decided to add a Chinese tank from 1997. Well, happy birthday to me, mate, but I don't give a shit about Wolfner anymore. If you do push-ups, you need to do other variants of push-ups in order to hit parts of your chest and put more load on the mushroom. Well, at the moment, I've just been doing about this, like, how do I show you this? About this wide of a push-up, right? I can do a little bit wider, but yeah. Building serious squat strength helps a lot in climbs. What helps a lot in climbs is being lightweight and having good endurance. Climbing has not that much to do with squat strength. I would wager that a good squat strength has to do with explosive sprints. That's why if you have a look, Google right now, Google 2 people. Google Chris Froome, who's a climber. He looks like this, and he's one of the best climbers in the world. And then Google Peter Sagan, whose legs are basically the size of an average person's skull. He's a sprinter. Now, it's not to say that Sagan can't climb, but, you know, in a sprint, Sagan wins. In a climb, Froome tends to win. So that's the difference. I'm not saying I want to look like Froome. I'm not saying I want to look like Sagan, but, you know, Sagan's beard would be a bit of a bonus, though. Big, big bonus. It's hard to build muscle when it's hard to put on muscle and fat and do a lot of cardio. Yeah, it's a pain, man. It's an absolute pain. But trying to balance the two out. Didn't Froome win the Tour de France? Yes, he did. I think like 3 or 4 times. Actually, I should know this. Why is this so good, man? I should be hating this, but I actually like it. Any tips for long rides? Food. You need to eat. Like, generally speaking, you need to eat a lot. I've been using these gels. I'll actually show you what a gel looks like. So, this is a gel. This one's tropical flavor, right? What you just do, you pull this off and you squeeze the whole thing. Now, these are expensive as fuck. I only bought them because they were on discount. This is 60 milliliters, and you're supposed to consume 3 of these in 1 hour. When I did my ride, which was 4 hours, I consumed 1 of these. I should have taken at least 3. On average, though, you have to eat. And if you're going to do a long ride, my recommendation is eat a lot before you go on the ride, and try to stop somewhere and have a meal. especially if you're just starting into long rides, you're not going far. Like for me, when I go on a ride, I go full out no matter where I'm going. I have a actually tendency to have a hard time going slow. Like I'm no longer capable of just going out on the ride and just, slowly riding. No, I'll fucking hammer to the wall. Like the worst thing was last 24 kilometers without any water. Freaking absolutely painful. What is that smoothie? 1 tablespoon glutamine powder, 1 tablespoon creatine powder, 2 tablespoons and a half of whey protein, milk, 1 tablespoon of sugar, a bit of raspberries, a bit of blueberries, and cinnamon. It looks like barf, but it's freaking delicious. I like it. I like it a lot. Sorry for the ASMR, man. I don't know why people do this. Bodybuilding is actually art, not a sport. If you want to get strong, do strongman, powerlift. Well, I think most people go to the gym because they want to look good. And I think most people that go to the gym, they do that because, look, I'll be honest with you. I mentioned the breakup before. I'm going to mention it again. I regret everything that went down, right? Like, I really liked the girl. We got along very well. We both rode bikes. And so that was at the end of October. November, I had my crash where I, pretty much ripped my hands open. You could have seen that in the video that I did on YouTube. It's actually healed very nicely. So November and most of December, I was in a very depressive. I don't want to say suicidal mood because I'm not a suicidal person, but it's like a hole, It's like it's a hole that you sort of find yourself in, and what most people do because it's in your interest, you just dig in that hole deeper. You would look at pictures of them, you'd look at what they're doing, you're stalking them, you're thinking about ways of winning them back, and most people that go through a breakup like that, something clicks. I was just speaking to a buddy today whom I haven't seen since 3 years ago, who ironically also broke up with his girlfriend of roughly the same time period in the same month, and he too started to go back to his roots. Now, my roots, it was the bike, I just didn't know it. And the working out was just a way for me to sort of relieve some of that energy. Okay? The bike, there was a really good description, I forget which cyclist said it, but he said that cycling is a sadomasochistic sport, right? Masochism is inflicting pain upon yourself. Sadism is inflicting pain upon others. Because when you go into a race scenario, you're trying to weaken others, but to do so, you have to weaken yourself because the amount of effort you have to exert, it's painful. So you're inflicting pain in yourself in order to inflict pain on others. Now, since I'm not really racing, I have to say that definitely masochism is a good word to put it. And what I was doing is I fought fire with fire. A very stubborn way of doing it, but I had a very big void, call it, it's an emotional pain. I decided that the way I'm going to fix the emotional pain is to create physical pain, right? So when I went onto the bike, when I was feeling sad or I was having a moment of weakness, on the bike, full hammer. You feel like you're not going anywhere. Drop what you're doing, do a 25, 30-minute exercise, come back, try again, right? Because I always remember that quote. I don't want to misquote it. Fairly certain it was Galileo Galilei that said, and it still spins, right? I forget what the translation is. And yet it moves. And yet it moves. The world goes on. COVID-19, your cat might die, you might get... Shit can happen. And yet it still goes on. Do you watch follow bike racing? It's not really. Not this year, at least, because there's going to be no bike racing. Sometimes letting out that energy helps a lot. Not that it helps a lot, it's almost a necessity. right? Those of you who went through particular breakups, there'll be moments where you want to, because I'm currently no contact with my ex. I can't, it's not because of her. It's because I couldn't handle it. I know that if I contact her, it's going to send me right back to where I begun. I have nothing to gain and everything to lose by doing so. And there is always a temptation, the same way that there's always a temptation to crack a cold one with the boys, temptation to go and light up a spliff, a temptation to, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it later, we'll do it next year. That same temptation that makes you want to, in this case, reinitiate contact or try your luck. That same temptation is a temptation that for years and years and years caused me not to go on the bike, not to exercise, not to better myself. This is how I'm going to put it. A relationship, in my case, was a comfort zone. I was very invested. I put a lot of emotion into it. I was sitting there, thinking, fuck, this person is no longer in my life. I'm no longer feeling happy. A good way to describe it is, I feel stronger. I eat better. I sleep better. I feel better, but I'm not happy. It's because you started basing your happiness on that relationship. It became a condition to it. The same way that if I got used to having this smoothie every single day, and this smoothie was, in my mind, the source of happiness, and then one day I woke up and this smoothie was no longer there, boom, instant depression. So, yeah, I could say, shit, dude, like right now, in this very moment, as I'm sitting here talking to you, I'm not really thinking about it. But from 1 to 10, current happiness level is at a 6. Right? If right now I was in a relationship, say the same one, maybe a different one, I could wager my happiness level would be at an 8, maybe a 9, maybe even a 10. But I would have never started working out, would have never started taking the bike seriously, would have never made the progress, and likely never even start to make the progress. And that simple realization that everything that's happened in the past 2.5 months, albeit it was painful, it was hard, it was difficult, I needed it. It's like a little push that you need to sort of go into the next one. If you remember, on my cut off finger, after 2 months, I broke another thumb again at work, so another 2 months at home. Jesus Christ, you're not a lucky man. Really. Have you ever eaten duck? I love duck from the Chinese restaurant. I think it's crispy duck. Absolutely love it. Haven't had it in a while, though. I once also made duck. Oh, it was good. Stuffed duck. You become used to the good of a relationship? No, it's not that. I think what happens is that, let's say you have a bad day. Right? You have a bad day. For me, when I was thinking about having a bad, like I'm in the middle of a bad day, I'm driving home, it's fine. I have my girlfriend there, because there's nothing that, a little chit chat, a quick fuck and a good night's cuddle can't do. But the problem is that you're not moving anywhere, right? The progress is not being made. In a way, the only 3 things that I missed from my relationship was obviously having sex, but let's be real here, it was having someone to ride bike with, and in particular her family. I really got along with her family, and it was, maybe about every 3-4 months, we'd go there for like a weekend, sort of hang out, and I kind of missed that, but the reality is that all of that is replaceable. And when I look back at my cycling, I was looking at so many excuses. Every time I would look out, I'm like, it's a bit windy, I'm not going to go out today. It seems a bit cold, not going to go out today. It seems a bit, damp, not going to go out today. I don't like the colour of the trees, so I'm not going to go out today. So many excuses, and that starts to go with everything else. Because what would you rather do, Stay at home, eat shitty food and watch a movie, kick yourself in the ass, go on the bike, and then have a proper meal, I had this was like three weeks ago. I ate 250 grams of pasta in one sitting. It's like a quarter of kilo of pasta. My old record was 180, and even then I don't even remember how I ate that. So it was amazing. Orange got depression from blue balls? What are you talking about, mate? Depression from blue balls. That's nothing. I eat 500 grams of pasta. It's a lot, because there's one thing you have to keep in mind, right? One thing you have to keep in mind is that the amount of food you can eat, based on how big you are, right? At 73 kilograms, the percentage of 250 grams of pasta is way different than, where is 500 grams of pasta when we all know that he weighs 300 pounds. So, yeah. I can't eat more than that, literally, because, I don't have any space, if I ate any more, it would be up here in my freaking throat. So, I'm 60 kilograms and 160, and I can eat 500 grams of pasta. Mate, we all know that you're like 600 kilograms and you eat 5 kilograms of pasta a day. We love you, man. Literally weigh 60 kilograms, 1.90 meters. Then you're a fucking slender dude. I don't know, mate. 60 kilograms at 1.90 meters? Dude. Where are you putting it? Like, is that all you eat in the entire day or what? Because 500 grams of pasta is enough freaking... Oh, I can't even imagine eating that much. I can try, but... Oh, damn it, I'll probably puke myself. Any American sizes, 400 kilograms and above. It's all about metabolism. Don't talk to me about metabolism, mate. Like, you know what my favorite snack is? Let me tell you what my favorite snack is. 2 dry pieces of toast, butter. That's it. I could eat as much of that as I want. Right? I don't think there's anybody in this chat that could beat me in a butter eating competition. Absolutely no one. Except maybe Donnie. Donnie, I could probably butter up. Flex your quadriceps in front of the camera. Let me just do a handstand real quick, man. Orange attempts to eat 1 kilogram of pasta after an extremely long bike ride while still sweaty. I've never have I eaten before having a shower. Never. Always shower first, then meal. Donnie, the definition of an American. Americans are funny, man. I like Americans. They're funny, dude. How long have we been live for? Only an hour. Dude, I feel like I've been streaming for 3 hours. Yeah, I like this, man. I like this little chat. I love butter. Butter is amazing. The problem with butter, though, is it's not, like... There are certain foods that if you eat, you just don't feel that good after it. Like, I'm that way with beer. Because I got such low beer tolerance. I'll have, like, 1 beer, and I already feel sick from it, dude. Like, not drunk, just, like, not even woozy, but just, like, weird. So, yeah. Should do more chat streams? I was thinking about, rather than the chat stream, having, like, a podcast. Right? I mean, what I like about stream here is I can sit here and answer questions. But I guess what I'm trying to say is this. I'm not that familiar with this. This whole camera interaction with just me sitting here, it's kind of a bit weird because I'm used to having a game running in the background. So I don't actually have to do, I don't have to do eye contact. Right? I'd much rather just sit here and do this than do that. I'm not used to it. Really not used to it. Redeemed highlight in my... I don't even know what that is. I'm off, mate. Have a fun stream. Keep the head up. You're a good guy. Good things will come to you. See you around, mate. Thank you, dude. Thank you. I really appreciate it, man. Whenever I go to a clothing shop, I browse enough European M size, and it says that for American it's XS. I have issues with sizes, dude. Because, like, some shirts... I've got some M shirts that are just way too wide, but way too short. Like, I've got an S shirt and an M shirt from the same company. The S shirt is longer than the M shirt. It makes no sense. Go play Casino Royale. I have actually played a bit of Casino Royale. Actually, I've played a lot of Casino Royale. It's one of those games that's like my dirty pleasure. Nobody knows I play it. I still log in every once in a while. Do like one or two matches. Old school RuneScape. I have not played old school RuneScape in over not over a year, but in about a year. Yeah, haven't played it. I ran out of membership and I just didn't really bother playing. I just haven't gamed much, like I said. Even now that I got the PlayStation for the family, I haven't gamed that much. It doesn't pull me in. Like, whenever I feel like gaming, I feel like I'd rather go and ride the bike, even though it's currently 8:30, you know, and it's dark out, and cold, and wet. So, yeah. I'm 6'2". I weigh about 75 to 80 kilograms. However, I hover between that. I don't gain nor lose weight. Doesn't matter if I eat a lot or little. I'm sort of like that with 73, you know. I feel like I go up to 75 and then drop back down to 71. And then go back up to 73 and then up to 75 and down to 71. So, yeah. That's why you get custom fit shirts. Yeah, that's why you pay a shitload of money, mate. It's my exact same problem with powerlifting. I want to do it all day, every day, but I do need the recovery. The recovery is a big part. The recovery is what definitely kicks me in the nuts sometimes. But yesterday was a weird day, because... no, sorry, not was it yesterday? Let me check I have my little workout list here. I don't want to say it wrong. Yeah, like yesterday was supposed to be my recovery, and I ended up going a little bit harder than I wanted because I had a lot of headwind. And then I came home, and because I had the shift in the morning, I ended up taking a 1 hour nap. And as I took the nap, like, my legs were really aching. I could feel the muscles were like, dude, just freaking relax, you know? And when I woke up from the nap and I went downstairs and I had some food and I came back upstairs, I was like, fuck, I want to work out. And my legs were like, are you sure about that? And I'm like, fuck yeah, fuck you legs, you know, we're going to do it. I didn't feel the pain anymore. Like, it's weird. It was weird. What group set is on your Willia? I've got Ultegra. Well, it's not all the 6800. No, sorry, the R8000. Most of it is the R8000, I think. The shift levers, the brakes. Shift lever, the brakes. Yeah, just the shift levers and the brakes are the old version of Ultegra. So... Imagine moving from a PC in 2020. Yeah, well, worries, you can't move to your fridge anyways, you know? You're probably shit in a bucket. Howdy, hello there, Mick fan. Nice to see you, mate. Would love a podcast from you. I would love a podcast from me too. Where is your crap, dude? I haven't streamed in forever. I can still rinse you. Got any advice for someone who has only ever used mountain bikes to get into proper road biking? I don't think it's any different. I mean, I've got the opposite problem. I've actually been thinking about trying mountain biking. But no, I've got a couple of mates. One of them I'm going to be hopefully riding on Sunday, who's a mountain biker, who's sort of doing a lot of road cycling, and they're very, very strong. Right? The only difference between mountain biking and road biking is just you're doing more distance with road bikes and your average speed is higher. That's really about it. No music going on, though? You mean like on a podcast or right now? Because, I don't know, dude, I love listening to music, but I realize that I listen to music on the bike, I listen to music when I work out, I listen to music every time I'm in the car. I feel like if I'm constantly listening to music and then also listening to the music on the stream, it sort of takes away the art of music. I don't want to listen to too much music. Sort of sometimes I like silence, and right now, even though that silence is cut short by my own voice, you know, coming through my headphones, I sort of like it. Do you use any pre-workout supplements? No, for 2 months, the only thing I used was plain water, right? There's water in here, trust me. Today, I tried using the same drink that I have on the bike. Didn't really like it. And then last week or so, I've been doing the whey protein in the form of the shake, and I've read that the glutamine powder is supposed to be really good for healing your muscles after a workout. And like I've got 3 bags of that. I mean, I've got I don't know how many doses that is, but the powder's there. Might as well use it. That was my mentality. Right? I don't think I'm going to continue using it after this bulking period, but it's there. It's like if I had a pound of chicken in the fridge, might as well eat the pound of chicken, right? Otherwise, it's going to go bad. So that's my mentality. Eat it. All you need is food, sleep, and stimulus to grow. I mean, all you need is chicken, says Wary. Do you choose your rest days? Usually my rest days are days like today. Days where I want to go on the bike, and then it ends up raining, and then I'm like, well, fuck, now I can't go on the bike. But I still did a workout, so is it a rest day? How many rest days have I had? So in 2020, I had 1st of January, 6th of January, 22nd of January, 28th of January, 3rd of February, 8th of February, 10th of February, 25th of February, so about 4 per month. And in March, I've had a total of 0 rest days. So I've been going 13 days full hammer, man. Yeah. Any tips for cycling against the wind? Clench your anus, try to get as aero as possible, and fucking push on. Usually swearing helps. It doesn't, but it's the only thing you can do. Usually the only thing you can do is just swear the fuck away, 'cause nobody can hear you. It's too windy anyways. Have to go to school? Ooh. The thing about wind is, if you know it's windy, and, well, obviously if you're going to school, you can't really choose where you're going to go, but adjusting the route, like, let's say it's blowing west, you could still do a ride where nearly 3/4 of the ride, you have sort of tailwind, but you have to choose the type of roads, because, like, I only see 2 possible options. You try to do it the way sailors would do it, so you're always coming at an angle where the wind is blowing to your back, or you just go straight into the wind and straight away from the wind. The problem is that when you have that, there's always a debate, right? It's really windy, and you're going to go in one direction and come back the same way you went to. The question is, do you go in the direction of the wind, or do you go in against the direction of the wind? Because here's the gamble. The thought process is, I go into the wind first so that I can go back with the wind. But what tends to happen is you go against the wind, and then as you turn around, the wind turns and you're going against the wind again. Then you're just fucking pissed and you never want to get on a bike again. So usually I say, go with the wind, you'll make it back somehow. Worst case scenario, you call a cab, Tips for riding in negative temperatures. Oh, mate. I don't recommend it. Oh, sorry. Oh, I'm a freaking porker. I don't recommend riding in negative temperatures. The coldest that I recommend is about 2 to 5 degrees Celsius. Below freezing is a little bit, it's a risky one. I have this felt mountain bike, cricket rims, garbage tyres, rusted chain and front fork. Also, most of the spokes are loose or hand tight. I think that's a nice way of saying you need a new bike. But I'm assuming that's a bike you use for daily commuting. In which case you don't want it to get stolen. In which case you're not going to buy a bike that's worth more than 100 quid. In which case you're not going to ride a very good bike. Below zero riding is easy if you have some bulk on your body. Just sometimes it's slippery. It's easy if you have bulk on your body. You're going to sweat the exact same way. The biggest issue with negative riding hasn't got to do with keeping your core temperature warm per se. is the fact that you're breathing in very cold air. This is why I had very big problems because I nearly got a cold. Because you're breathing in freezing cold air. So if your pulse goes above, say, 160, 170, you're gasping in freezing cold air. And even if you have a face mask, chances are you're still getting that freezing cold air in. It's not good for your lungs. Yeah, I don't recommend it, man. I mean, if you really have to, then sure, but the cold will mess up your bike if you don't maintain it. I don't think the cold will mess up your bike. It's more or less the sole that's on the road, the gravel that's on the road. Those things can corrode, yeah. Do you somehow organize your 30,000 songs? I've actually had to make a second playlist. Like, I had to make a second... so I have two music folders now. I have the old one and I have the new one. The old one's on my PC. The new one is on my phone. And currently I think I have around 644 songs have been catalogued so far. I have another probably 1,500 to go. Because I think the end goal is to have a playlist between 2,500 to 3,000 songs. It's quite simple. My phone has a rating system. I don't know if you're able to see this, but you see these little stars? Sorry. So this is Green Day. Green Day has 4 stars because every 4-star song I'm going to put into a rock playlist. So the way the stars go is 1 star are cinematic songs. So things like things that you can, like Interstellar soundtrack, any kind of classical music like, Mozart or Beethoven or whatever. Then 2 stars I have for EDM, trance, psytrance, anything along those lines. 3 stars are for songs like, I call it funk, but sort of, let's say, ABBA, some Queen songs. What's a good example of a funk song? Where do I have it? Why is it not here? Like this. Yeah, this is a great example of a funk song, because when you listen to this, you can't help but go like this with your head, right? That's what I think is a good funk song. I'll actually leave this one on. So that's funk. So number 4 is metal, rock, alt rock, anything rock related. And in the 5-star one, that's the one that I have the most issues with. 5-star songs are all songs that I want to have when I'm listening to when I'm cycling. Those are songs that have a huge amount of power. Maybe they have a drop that makes you want to sprint. These are the kind of songs where if I'm just playing that 5-star rating songs, I'm going full hammer on the bike. And if I'm just listening to the full playlist and a 5-star song comes on, instant mode. In fact, I think the playlist is going to be called Need for Speed, because it's the type of music that I would want to have in a Need for Speed game. Music that makes you want to go really fast. I love that. The King of the Saber is back. King of the Saber.
Here we go. Money talk.
I'm the king of the meat here, my mate. Wolf Weasel. Appreciate that, man. I mean, you're subbing to a dead streamer, but I appreciate it, dude. Much appreciate it. Not gonna listen to music because I don't want to listen to music. Where is? I swear to God, man. Currently working on a trance playlist, and I can't manage 800 songs. Well, but just 800. I mean, no, sorry, not just 800 songs, but 800 songs just in the trance genre is much harder to do than 800 songs in 5 different genres, right? But yeah, so what I do is, because I'm commuting to school every morning and to work, well, not going to be for the next 2 weeks, but let's say 2 hours a day, I'll put my playlist on shuffle. That's 37,000 songs on shuffle. So the chance of a song that I want to hear, specific one, is 1 in 37,000. But if it plays, I'll give it a rating, and that's one song done, you know. And then what I usually do is, let's say, you know, Green Day comes on, and I'm like, okay, so I know there's a lot of songs from Green Day that I might want to put in here. So on certain days, I'll be like, okay, today we only listen to Green Day. And then what I will do is, I'll go through all the albums, and I'll realize, okay, so these 3 albums, let's say, are live albums. I don't need them, I'll delete them. This album has low quality, I have to replace it, have to re-download it later from another source. This and that song are bad, or this and this song are good, add them, remove them, so on. So that's kind of, it's a lengthy process, but it's a long year in front of us. So hopefully, you know, in 2021, you have a brilliant, brilliant little playlist. My trance playlist is 300 songs. My trance playlist is actually pretty fucked. Is this it? My trance playlist only has 263. That's on the PC. And I'm not even sure that most of these are psytrance songs. Sorry, trance songs. Yeah, I can see a few of them that are not. Quite a few of them that are not. But yeah. What app on your phone are you using to play music? Power Amp. It is free, but you have to pay for. You have to pay to like for it to make sense. But it's a one-time payment. It's not like a subscription. I think it's pretty cheap. It's like less than £5, you know. I paid once, never looked back. Brilliant investment. Brilliant investment. But yeah, in terms of gigabytes, let me just tell you how big this is. Music version 2, properties. Holy shit. Still loading. Still loading. 358 gigs. So yeah, nearly more than my SD card can manage, because I got a 400 gig SD card, and it's not, you know, the full 400 gigs. Mine is 1.2 terabytes. Well, if I had Flax downloaded, then you would be looking at potentially 3 terabytes. Nah, probably not that much. Yeah, 2 terabytes. I have 150,000 songs. Deco, sorry, not Deco, Cuzzy, I'm going to have to ask for a link of your 150,000 songs, because I absolutely doubt you have 150,000 songs. I absolutely doubt it. There's no way now. No way now. Unless you mean like Spotify. My Winamp folder? You use Winamp, my dude. Jesus. Let me send you a hard drive. All right, yeah, mate. Let's just copy it over a hard drive and send it to my house. It's a brilliant one. You can't even listen to them all in 5 years. Yeah, it's like, how much is it? So the 28,000 songs in my original playlist would take 115 days to play. So imagine if I press play right now, and the song I want to hear is the last one in the playlist, I'm going to hear it literally half a year from now. That is ridiculous. How's life going, Tangerine? Very well, man. Very well. I've actually very much been enjoying it. You know, spoke about happiness a little bit early in the stream, so if you want to have a backtrack later, you can do that. But yeah, I felt like having a bit of a chat today. I don't have anything better to do, to be honest. Like, just figured I might as well, you know, reconnect with you boys, have a quick little chat. Lange, Drifting Away. Dude, I found this song. I didn't have this song. I found this song. Just so you know, I'm not bullshitting you. Here's the. No, that's the E. Jesus, the wrong link. This one. This. I found this thing on YouTube. Classic Trance. And if I'm not mistaken, the song you just linked is right here. Drifting Away. And I heard this thing, and it was playing in the background. I don't know what it was. I might have been studying. And this. This is art, mate. This is absolute art. See, I'm addicted. The music like that just makes me... Oh, music like that makes me so happy, you know? But it's ancient. From if you remember Link, it says 2002. Like fuck, I was 5 years old in 2002. 5 years old. That's the kind of music, you know, that I live for.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
You got the virus, mate? I don't got the virus, mate. I ain't gonna get the virus. I'm too freaking quick to get the virus. Wingred, thank you, mate. 34 months. You're a big boy now. God, I miss some of the old sub days, man. Old days of 500 viewers. You know what's funny? There is a Hilo with liquid. I don't give a shit what's in the War Thunder, dude. Like, I just don't. There was a time. You know, if I describe War Thunder like going through a breakup, right? Going through War Thunder like going through a breakup. Because I said I was going to quit 2 years ago. When I said I was going to quit, that was me 3 months ago when I'm like 24/7 stalking what everybody's doing. I would still watch every video people posted. I'd still watch all the Reddit threads. I would still, you know, I was basically still playing the game, you know. Dude, right now, I'm so over it, I couldn't be fucked what they do. I don't follow the War Thunder subreddit. I'm not on Twitter anymore. I'm not on Discord. I don't have anyone. Like, I only use Instagram. There's no War Thunder on Instagram. I've got no War Thunder on Facebook. I, generally speaking, have no freaking clue what's going on around the world in War Thunder. I was gonna die. It's gonna die. Yeah, it died. Might as well drink this. God, that's disgusting now. 123 views after 4 months of AFK. Well, if it was actually a decent stream, could probably get more, but I don't really care. Oh yeah, that cycling shit that I posted earlier, like, how many people are even interested? I was thinking about it, because the Doom... Let me just remove that video that I posted, otherwise it's going to be... delete forever, understand, delete forever. In my opinion, the channel is dead, right? Like, in terms of posting things on it, I think it's out of the question. But I thought about it for a while. It's like, there is some content I'd be interested in posting, but I don't have the drive to want to do it on a new platform or to do it on a new channel. Like, I can't be fucked to go and make a new channel just so that I can post something there that wouldn't be, you know, that wouldn't be combating the old thing. What are you hiding in that huge cup? What, you mean this cup? This is empty. This used to be a smoothie. Now I'm going to have me some water. It's a decent stream. We can watch your beautiful face. Thank you. That's the nicest thing you said, man. That's the nicest thing you said. Channel for cycling only? No. Because look, I thought about it. I don't have the drive or the devotion or the patience to be bothered to, like, actually make content. But there is some content that I could make once in a while, right? And if I was going to upload it, it might as well go up on this channel. You know? Because, like, you know what my biggest problem is right now? Everybody that goes to my channel now, the first video they see is the last video that I uploaded, which unfortunately, why does it say 2 months ago? It wasn't 2 months ago. It was in December 25th. Yeah, basically the cringiest video that exists is the last video they're going to watch. And I don't want to remove it, right? I just want to sort of overcast. Does that make any sense? Same as the last time. Like, last time I quit. Last time I quit, I made those 2 cringe videos about the truth. I think it was called The Truth. Let me find it. Yeah, The Truth. And then Aftermath. Like, The Truth was just the weirdest thing ever. Just black screen and just me talking. And then I came back to sort of... Yeah, to sort of meme around for a bit. That was fun. Cooking, yeah, because that's the thing, you know. Like, if I have like some content I want to post, like to think about just posting it, like having this channel as an outlet where I can just post whatever I want, you know. That's the kind of idea. Would you delete old videos? I would not delete old videos. I'd leave them on there, you know. Not like anybody would watch it. Why not hide it? I don't want to hide it. No, I'm not ashamed of what it is, because it's the truth, right? Not ashamed of it. I just don't want, you know, like, for example, recently in college there was a couple of mates that I was hanging out with, and I don't know how we got on the topic, but I sort of mentioned, they're like, oh yeah, what's your channel name? And I'm like, oh, it's theOrangeDoom. Oh shit, no, don't look it up, because, you know, I realized that was going to be the video they're going to watch. Because if you tell someone, you know, they're like, oh, I'll check out your channel. It's like, is there a possibility you would check out any video except for that one? No, that's the first one they're going to click on, because it has my face on it. It's like, this is the one that makes the most sense, you know? I still cry because we removed all the Doom times. I know, mate. I was an idiot. I miss it too, dude. I miss it too. I don't know. What's the oldest video that I've got, besides the one that I left on there? I've barely got any content. Like, it's shit. Like, this is all the content I have, really. It's weird, because I know how much content there was. But wait, the first video got up, so 6 years ago, 2014. So I was on YouTube for only 5 years. I thought I was on YouTube for 7 years. Jeez. Well, I guess I was playing War Thunder for like 7 years. Damn. Oh, the comments are horrible. Let me hear it.
Hey guys, and welcome back. I'm doing some A26 Invader. I tried some fighters today, but it didn't work. Not the right enemies really, because I can't go.
That's amazing, dude. Holy fuck. The difference is just astounding. The difference is astounding. What about this? Similar battles with a mouse.
I'll also be including timestamps in the description below to the 5 main parts of the video. This will be takeoff, landing.
I was trying really hard to sound British here. I was a bit too tryhard.
Yes, I'm using spacebar here to look over the front of the aircraft.
It's weird. It's weird. It's really weird. That's definitely nostalgic, man. But yeah, the thing that there's nothing in between, unfortunately.
Free Golden Eagle. If you haven't watched First Part yet, I'll put a link in the description below and on the screen right now, so you can watch that. It's a very good video. But people had some questions, and good questions at that, and all...
I feel like the old microphone actually wasn't a bad one. Like, it got a decent sound out, but then again, my voice also wasn't that deep back in the day.
Just look at the enemy team, they're everywhere. So, managed to stall at the Act 3P that was below me, and this should be an easy job. No problem for the 50 cals, they converge, and boom, that pilot was not having a fun day. But neither was mine, because as I check my 6, there's about 3 yaks behind me and one...
Wow, man, that's... I don't know, the game looks better back then. It actually looks fun. This is the problem of looking at old content. You look at an old video, and it's like... I actually want to go play War Thunder, and I'm... Oh, right, yeah, the War Thunder doesn't exist anymore. Surprised you still sound British. Hello there, Colin, man. I've not seen you in forever, dude. How are you? Damn, it's been ages. It's been absolute ages. What a difference between those two videos, yeah. Doesn't even sound like you. That video was from, hold on, that video that we just listened to was from December 1st, 2015. So that's 5 years ago. It's weird. I feel like my actual English has gotten a little bit worse over the past few months, just because I've not been using it that much. But, you know, yeah, I miss that. I miss that. Don't get me wrong. There are days where I do miss streaming. I do miss sitting here, listening to music, being a god in War Thunder, and just having a fantastic time. But, frankly, you know, there's life. You know, I don't miss that gaming... antisocial sort of... I used to have this theory. I said that during the time when I was streaming, I was the most socially antisocial person in my country because, you know, you would be hanging out with 500 people at the same time, but none of them in real life. So it was a bit of a kick. Something I wish to get back to, the difference between the old one and the new one. You never get the feel back, dude. That's why gaming in a way has sort of burnt me out. I don't feel like it gives me any fulfillment. Like it gives me the happiness that I'm looking for, you know. And there, right now, in this moment, when I think to myself, what makes me happy? That, you know, these are the type of moments you have where you sort of start to like circle into like a wannabe depressive phase. Where it's like, oh, I miss this and I miss that, you know, because it's nostalgia. And often enough we miss things, but we don't realize that we miss what it used to be. It's the ideal that you miss, you know. Same way that, you know, I miss War Thunder for what it was in, you know, 2015. I miss my ex for what she was, not now, but what she was, you know, a year and a half ago. I miss, you know, a couple of friends that I used to hang out with a lot in university for what they were in university. But in all of that, what you miss is that also you as a person are no longer the same the person you were when you were enjoying those things. You know, you have changed as well. So there's this perpetual thing about life, man. You start to sort of feel when you're growing up, and it's like, oh, fuck, dude, it really, really hits hard. It really hits hard. I have the same with League of Legends. I miss the old days. We're getting old, man. That's just the thing. We're getting old. I know that me, Sestron, Quetzal, Colo, you know, a lot of you guys in chat, like, we sort of grew, you know, in a way. And, yeah, you start to reminiscence the old days. You start to miss what it used to be. And that's why it kicks in. That's why it hurts. You know, and again, the problem is because it is a form of a comfort zone. And because comfort is something that we sort of, there's literally the expression, you know, find comfort in, and you try to look up for it. What are you up to nowadays, besides riding a bike and crashing it? I haven't crashed since January 3rd. I've had a few close calls. In fact, there was this one ride. I had three I nearly got, well, not that I got, they nearly got T-boned by me because they just pulled out. 3 cars in one day. I couldn't believe it. And the last instance, I was going into an intersection at about 36 kilometers an hour after a very long, very difficult ride. And there was this white small car with a granddad and a grandma, probably just having a nice Sunday drive. And they start turning left. And I'm looking at them and I'm thinking, surely they're going to stop. And they just keep going. And there was a moment, if you've ever had a crash, or if, you know, that moment just before it happens, you have the realization where you sort of say to yourself, okay, this is happening, we're going down. I had that moment. I literally reached the moment where I said to myself, it was a good run, now we crash. And the first thought that we're going is this. The bike's going to have damage. It was kind of annoying me, but it was the one bike that's less expensive. And then I was like, how am I going to crash here? Because I'm going to go over the hood of the car. So we're looking at probably some broken bones, probably a smashed phone, probably my glasses might get destroyed. And in the heat of all that, I managed to brake, and I think the rear wheel locked up. And when you lock the rear wheel, it sort of jumps, and it jumped to the left hand, which then actually helped clear the car. And the guy luckily stopped. And the funny thing is that filled me up with so much adrenaline that there was a guy in front of me on a bike. So I'm on a bike that's probably worth about 800 euros, right? Like, it's a trash bike. Fat tire. It's not a trash bike, right? But compared to a road bike, it's not really a road bike. It's a converted gravel bike. Thick tires, heavy aluminum. And there was this guy in front of me. When you're riding a bike and you see a guy in front of you, you're like, oh, I'm going to drop you. It's the equivalent if, like, you're driving on the highway and you're about to overtake a Porsche in your Golf. You know, like, oh, fuck your Porsche, man. I've got a better car, you know. So yeah, I start reaching to this guy, and I'm about to overtake him, and I look at his bike, and it's a Pinarello, and I'm like, dude, this bike's worth about 5 to 6 grand, and here I am on an 800 quid bike, and I'm dropping this dude, and I didn't just overtake him, I dropped him. Like, I made sure to get by as fast as I could, burn some of that lactic acid. It was brilliant. The dance. Oh no, is this gonna be Oh fuck, dude, the cringe. Jesus Christ. 'Cause every time we touch, I get this feeling. Oh my god, that is just cringe, dude. Oh, from my own personal experience, I know that biking is dangerous, but this practically death experience, I think the worst ones are still the sort of the butt clenching you get when you nearly wipe, you know? Like, those are the scariest ones. It's not actually when you fall, it's when you're about to fall and you sort of still catch up on it. And then I just usually just end up swearing. Like, I'm just, what in the fuck? Like, you shitty, fucking dumb cunt. Like, why are you doing this to yourself? And then you snap out of it and you're fine. You tend to be fine for that duration. But that initial butt clenching moment, which like, oh, shit, you know, like there was a moment. Was it? I think it was Monday. No, Tuesday. Tuesday, I didn't have much time and I was really tired, and I went on a bike ride, really quick one, like 15 kilometers around the local gravel, and I'm riding, and there's an old lady walking on the left side of the road, and I can see a dog. And the dog is like, he's approaching at a speed that feels like he's not going to stop in time. He's going to reach the lady. I'm assuming the lady is his owner. And the dog is just really, you know, I don't understand dogs because I'm a cat person. So when I see a dog, all I see is just a weird animal that's just like zooming all the time, you know, like overly happy and not really paying attention to what's going on. When I see a cats are always like, fuck you doing, bro? What you looking at, man? You know? Cats, I don't know, I guess it's just, I understand cats more. Like, if I see a cat next to the road, I tend to know what the cat's going to do. It's going to do nothing, at least nothing stupid. But if I see a dog, I'm always like, every time I ride past a dog, if it's on a leash, if it's not on a leash, if it's a big dog, if it's a small dog, if it's a fucking humongous Russian, I'm always asking myself, is the dog just going to start running towards my bike? I'm always asking myself the question. So I see this dog, he's rushing towards what I'm assuming is his owner, or her owner, or its owner, I don't fucking know. Maybe the dog's transgender, dude, who knows? And the dog's running, and as I'm approaching, you know, the timing couldn't be worse, the dog just goes past the woman, and I'm looking at the dog, and I'm like, fuck, because, like, I'm like, great. You know, in my mind, I'm like, I'm not just going to crash, I'm going to crash into the dog. Then I'm going to look like a dickhead. It's going to be like, oh, you know, she's going to call the cops. She'll be like, you know, I was just walking my dog, and my dog's a very good boy, and this young man on bicycle crashed into my dog. Evil man. Take him away. And I don't know, but the dog somehow stopped. I evaded him, and I just started swearing. I was like, put the dog on the fucking leash, you old cunt. Oh, I was so angry at it, man. Because, again, I guess if I had dogs, I would understand them more. But even when I was, because my ex had 2 dogs in her family, so when I was there about 4 times a year, I would hang out with those dogs to a certain extent, and I would understand those dogs to a certain extent. JJ, everybody here knows JJ. JJ's got a dog, and every once in a while, JJ will give me a phone call, and he's like, dude, are you home? And I'm like, yeah, what's up? He's like, I really, really need a favor. And I'm like, well, what's the problem, mate? And he's like, can you take my dog for a walk? And I'm like, no problem, man, you know? His dog, Lena, she's a really, really good dog. But the weird thing about it is, every time I go to his place, right, the moment you open the gate in front of the house, you can hear the dog starts to bark, right? It's like you have entered his territory, right? But it's only when the freaking gate starts to open. So the dog hears the gate and it's like, bark mode, bark, bark, bark. You know, it starts running towards the door. So as you open the door, you're greeted by this small dog just going bark mode on you, right? Now, if I didn't know better, I'd be mildly intimidated, thinking maybe he's going to bite me, maybe it's going to, chase me. But no, she just sits there, looks at you, and barks, and then you put your hand out to her, and she looks at the hand, and she looks at you, and she's like, okay, you're a friend. And then you pick up the leash, and the leash has this little thing that goes over her belly. And the first time that I went to take her for a walk, because I'm not a dog person, I've never done this, and I've never, usually they have a collar, and then at the back of the collar, there's a little ring. You click the thing on them, that's it. But no, this is the type of weird, thing that you have to put around the dog's belly. And I'm looking at this thing, and I'm looking at the dog, and I'm like, how the fuck do you put this thing together? And then it took me about 5 minutes to realize that the dog actually has to step into this weird vice. So yeah, I get her in there, I get her clipped in. The entire time, she doesn't move an inch. She's not zooming around, she's patiently waiting, and until I had the thing clipped in, she doesn't stop walking. But holy fuck, man, you take the dog for a walk, and as soon as you're outside of the house's perimeter and the first little tiny evergreen can be seen, the dog just goes, I smell piss, I have to piss here, boo, pisses there, pisses here, pisses everywhere, and I'm just like, you're yoinking on the freaking corn, you're like, can we go, dog, we're here for a walk, not a piss treaty, but he's just going left, right, I'm just like, fuck, dude. But no, she's overall a good dog, because she's small, it's manageable, but imagine if it's like a 100-pound dog, I got no control over that. If that thing starts running, I think there's a clip on YouTube from one of those old laughing videos where there's a little girl and a giant, I think it's a shepherd, and the shepherd just starts to sprint, and the little girl just literally gets yoinked out of the
Citrus
screen.
Doom.
Oh my god, Corby, thank you for the tenner, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, dude. Hope you're doing very well. Remember Corgi? Wish he was here. I miss Corgi, mate. Corgi was a good fella. I just hope he's in a good place right now, man. He's got his good job. He's got his anime. He's got his waifu pillow, whatever. Yeah. But yeah, that's the thing about the whole, dog versus cat debate. It's just that when I see dogs, I get confused, because I was thinking about this the other day. Dogs, I got associated there because I saw Colin's comment. Dogs are basically wolves, right? And if you look at a cat is basically like a tiger or a lion. And I feel like cats do have those psycho things. Like, especially my cat. You will lift up my cat, and I realize this every time I lift her up, she will give me one, and I mean only one of those, where she nudges her head at me. One. The next thing I'll be getting is getting bitten into my face. So I think cats are far more like psychos. But a cat, I've never seen a cat voluntarily attack, right? A cat always has, in the whole fight or flight, cats mostly tend to be flight. They're scared, they tend to stay away from things. They will attack if provoked. But on the other hand, when I see a dog, right, I've never seen a dog, well, I have seen a dog and thought, that's a cute dog, right? That's not going to bite me. But at least 50% of the chance you see a dog, you're like, is that thing going to chase me and bite me in the leg? Are we going to have a problem? And don't I dare mention the jump scares. How many times I've ridden my bike, and this is why I have headphones in, okay? The reason I love earphones is because when I don't have earphones and I'm going by some person's house, and there's a dog there, and the moment I ride by, the dog goes into insane bark mode and starts running, even though he's behind a fence, is the reaction of that bark that scares the fuck out of me, because I'm not anticipating it. I'm riding, I'm focusing on the road, I'm trying to hear the traffic around me, I'm trying not to fucking fall asleep because I'm exhausted from the 100k that I've just done, and that dog just barking, it just freaks me the fuck out, because I'm not thinking about it. I would sooner expect a train to come falling from the frickin' sky and crashing into the road in front of me than I do expect that dog to start barking. It's a bit of like a yikes. But yeah. Dogs are pretty much handicap wolves. I know that because I have the dumbest dog on the planet. Love him though. Oh, I don't know. Dude. I don't have an issue per se. Maybe it's like I've seen when it comes to cats. I've seen boring cats and I've seen interesting cats. The boring cat tends to be the cat like my cat, which is like she doesn't cuddle, and the cool cat tends to be the cat where like you come to a friend's place. And the cat just comes by and just jumps into your lap and just starts purring. Like, scratch me, mate. Scratch me. You know, that's the kind of that's the difference between a cool cat and a not cool cat. And then I guess there's like a third bracketed category, which is like a wild cat you'll see on the street. A dog, on the other hand, dogs, from my experience, you have the dogs that are like you don't even realize they're there. The dogs that can't exist without you realizing they're there, and the dogs that just I don't even know, dude. Like just, some dogs are just like, what have you done with it? Like, I know this one couple, that have this dog. The dog's massive, and if that dog's not retarded, I don't know what is, because that dog, like, he's got no chill. I don't know if he was just like if he's naturally that. Like, all I'm saying is, if that dog was a person, I would want to move to a different country, not to want to see that dog ever again, or that person, because it's that bad. So, it's, yeah. I'm guessing it has a lot to do with training, you know. I think that dogs can be trained to do some amazing things. Cat can't be trained to do jack shit. So, with a cat, I think you pretty much get what you get. With a dog, you get what you train it. And a badly brought up dog will do bad shit for the rest, right? How many cats have you heard had to be put out? And how many dogs had to be put down? Big difference there. So yeah. What does this do? I have no idea. Apparently it highlights your message. So yeah. Go, blah. I got a dog and a cat, and I also fear dogs, and you sound just like me when I'm scared and stuff. Well, no, look, I have this analogy that I came up a long time ago, and I was walking home in the middle of the night, wasted as fuck, and there's this house at the edge of the village that has a lot of cats, and every night that I walked home, so you know, just to paint a picture, maybe I was going home, either I was walking or I was on a bike, there would be like 1, 2, sometimes 3 cats. It's like 3 a.m, you know, maybe it's 2 a.m, maybe it's 6 a.m. But like you're going by, it's the middle of the night, it's pitch black, there are these 3 cats there. I never felt intimidated. Like I've never seen a cat and thought, you know, like walked by and thought, fuck, this thing's gonna claw my eyes out. You know, like a cat will do that. I've seen these streamer girls pulling a cat next to her face and like getting her eye clawed out. It can happen, you know, cats are dangerous like that. But again, never unprovoked. So if I'm walking home in the middle of the night and I have to choose between having an encounter with a cat and an encounter with a dog, I'm not thinking twice, mate. I'd rather have 100 cats than one dog, because I can never be certain that dog isn't going to start chasing me. So yeah. You ever planning to come back to Discord? Very likely never, dude. Like, at the moment, the only social media I'm using is Facebook, because I have to use it for my school project. I use Instagram because I don't actually know why anymore. Well, I said I was going to use it. Might as well use it for a bit. I'm sort of growing out of it. I'm sort of starting to grow out of social media. I'm trying to reduce the use of it. I feel like one of the big problems of Instagram is that there's this constant... Not so much like in one way, there's a temptation, the temptation that's looking what other people are doing, right? But also the sort of temptation to show other people how amazing you're doing, right? There's this constant desire that you have to post stuff that's gonna show how, you know, like, and it becomes annoying because like everywhere you go, everything you do has to almost be documented, and Yeah. So like there'll be days where I don't post anything, and there'll be days that I just post way too much. Like today was a day. I went to the store. What did I post today? Let me see. That's the thing. You post so much stuff at one point, you don't even realize what you've posted. Yesterday I posted a picture of a smoothie. Okay, then there was a meme about Joe Rogan, because this is true. Like, if everybody in this dated me so far has gone to know Joe Rogan. Then there was, like, me cleaning the bike in the morning, which is, like, okay, you know, like, fine. Then I went shopping, and then I posted a picture of a clean rear derailleur jockey, and then the fish that I filleted. And that's, you know, it's so, I don't know, it's pretty boring, to be honest. So, yeah, I've thought about maybe turning off all of social media, but it's kind of tough. You sort of, you know, you want to be active on some of it, I guess. I'll see. A cat is just a small tiger that lives in your house. Yeah, but it's not going to kill you, right? Like, a cat's not, like, it's not going to kill you. Right? Like, think of it like this. A dog will bark at your neighbour. A cat will meow at the squirrel across the street. Like, it's cat's never really been aggressive against people as far as I've seen. Hey, Glue Gang, how's the quarantine going? I don't really mind it, to be honest. I've got nothing planned for the next 2 weeks. I guess maybe a little bit annoying because I can't do the whole socializing thing, but other than that. Man, I'm so thirsty today. Which is good, man. It's good. Got to drink a lot. Cats will also steal your food. Well, yeah, cats will steal your food. Dogs will just come sit next to you and beg you until you give them some food. Not a big difference, man. I think there's a divide. I think there is a massive divide between dogs and cats. And I was actually thinking about doing an entire podcast on this topic because it's just it's a torn sort of divide, you know. Like, I do believe there are some people that perhaps are like dog people and cat people, but I think in general there's cat people and there's dog people, right? Dogs bark because they're trying to protect the owner, though. I know, I understand that, right? It's just that from my personal experience, I didn't enjoy it, right? Like, for me, when I look at the pros and cons of both animals, cats, low maintenance, right? I've never had to take my cat for a walk. I never had to even show my cat where the toilet was. She used the porta thingy potty for like maybe a week, and it just goes out. Like, when the cat needs to take a shit, it leaves the house, takes a shit, comes back. You know, no need to clean up after it. So, for me, the issue with dogs has to do with barking, has to do with that in general they tend to be very messy, right? A cat cleans itself. You know, if you observe a cat throughout its day, what it tends to do is it tends to sleep for 3/4 of the day, and the other quarter of the day it's cleaning itself. That's all a freaking cat does. It's a very lazy animal. It's a low maintenance. Cat can't really hurt you the same way that a small dog can't. But if you have a big chonker, they can definitely kill you. Well, I mean, if you have a big chonker, he's just going to be chonking around looking for food. He's not like really actively thinking about, you know. It's because the mentality of the animal is different. Like the guy over there said, dogs will protect the owner. Cat doesn't give a fuck about the owner, right? Cat gives a fuck about the food you're giving it, and that it has somewhere that it can, you know, a box that it can go into and sleep. So, for me, I'm a big fan of the fact that cats clean up after themselves, you know. Now, there have been a few instances where the cat had barfies and, you know, bathed on the carpet. Yeah, I've had one instance where the cat brought 3 dead bird fetuses and just dropped them in front of me, especially during summer when it hunts stuff. I've had 2 mice. I've had a bunch of little lizards. Yeah, you know, like, those things exist. Dead birds a gift? Yeah, I know they're a gift, right? I'm not particularly like, oh, yuck, what have you done? You know, it's just like, oh, you know, good girl, here's your food, and, you know, you pick up the stuff and you throw it away. You know, it's like, it's It's like, it's not a big deal, to be honest. You have to say thanks and trash it later? Yeah. Eat the gift. Cat I have is as messy as my dog. Little dickhead knocked over 3 bottles of wine. This is a thing I hear a lot about, right? This is something I haven't had experience with myself, but there was a girl that I was talking to recently. They got a cat who was knocking over her phone and knocking over, a lot of things. My cat hasn't done any of that. The worst thing she did was she gnawed through my Sunto watch charger cable. But that was my problem because we like the toy that we use to play with the cat is a tiny rope, and that rope obviously resembles a charger. So when she sees a charger, she has that temptation to want to gnaw it, but not really. What she destroys, sides of the bed, for example. So like the corner of the bed, she will come and she will stretch and she will start to like how cats do that thing, they're sharpening their nails. Whenever she does that, I'll call her back. Yo, what the fuck you doing? Stop. And usually she'll give you that look like, what you mean, man? I don't give a fuck. It keeps on doing it. But yeah. Again, look, I'm not saying that my experience with dogs was bad, right? There were some dogs that I met that were genuinely good. One of the worst ones. This is the worst experience for me. My ex-girlfriend, her family had 2 dogs. And the 2 dogs that they had, they were very, opposite. They were different breeds. They behaved differently, different personalities entirely. One of them, very passive, very friendly. The other one, a little bit more defensive. I could definitely see that there was a strong connection between my ex and her dog, right? That they were very closely bonded. And I don't think it was even a full year into the relationship. Her sister went for a walk, and I don't know what happened. I don't want to go into circumstance because I don't know. I can only guess that the dog did something, or that she called the dog ran across the street, and a car hit her. And I remember getting a phone call from a girlfriend at the time, and she said, the name of the dog is dead. And I was sort of dumbfounded because I started thinking, whenever you hear a name, you run it through a list of people you know. And I run it through a list, and I'm like, I only know one person with that name, and that's my best friend's girlfriend. I don't think she's dead. And I'm like, what the fuck? And then he clicks, and I'm like, oh, hun, I'm so sorry, And they ended up getting a different dog, a male dog, I think roughly the same breed. And from at least what I've seen of that dog, I only saw him about 3 or 4 times. Had a very similar personality, also got very bonded with her. And I could see that bond between the owner and the dog was something that was very, very beautiful. But I couldn't take, the approach of hygiene. The fact that dogs and their owners, the owner letting the dog lick them, I find that disgusting. Even one of my best friends we go to, he has a dog. This dog, right? The dog from this dog, she's amazing. I love this dog, right? But this dog did 3 things I didn't like. One thing, she ate one of my muffin molds. Number 2, she farted in my face once. Freaking stank. And number 3, she tries to lick me, right? But that's every dog. Every dog will come to you when they're nice, like, oh, here comes some lickies. I'm like, no, look, you can get petties. I'll throw you the ball and you can fetch. No lickies, right? I hate it. I hate even my own cat. And I know that my cat is on a hygiene scale from 0 to 10, it's like a 9.5 in terms of cleanliness. Sometimes if I come close to my cat, she'll lick the tip of my nose. I don't like it. Fingers, hands, that's okay. She can lick my fingers. That's fine. Sometimes if you're eating popcorn, you have a little bit of salt. She'll smell it. She's like, that tastes nice. She'll start licking. And the tongue that a cat has little spikes. So it's like a nice sensation. But I don't want the cat to be licking my face, right? I can wash my hands relatively easy, but I don't know. Maybe I'm a bit of a clean freak, but that for me was like a no-go with dogs. There was another girl that I knew in high school. She got a dog. Well, I haven't seen that dog in obviously like 5 years' time, because I haven't seen her in 5 years' time. But I think it's a pug. The dog with like a squished-in face and just constantly drooling. That drooling thing was like I can't do that. The drooling thing is weird. The drooling thing for me is equivalent to the people. Some people when they talk, they like spit. Right, so when they're standing in front of you and they're speaking, sometimes you can feel some of that spit fly across into your face or your arms. You're just like, you're like inside, you're vomiting. Even just like a tiny thing, but it feels wrong. It's like, can you get some distance there, boy? Those things are like, to me personally, it's horrible. I can't deal with that. What can I deal with? In terms of dogs, I really like the wiener dog. Right, what is it called? The wiener dog. The tiny, like long, the wiener dog. Right, those are pretty cute. Labradors. There used to be a guy that lived in our street. It was an older fella, and I remember 2 dogs. Right, from my entire childhood, this guy had 2 dogs. They weren't both Labradors, I don't think, but it was like an event, right? It was an event that on my way from the house, either to the school or to the bus station or to the store or to my grandma, that during that time on that path, I would come across the guy taking his dog for a walk. Every time you would meet him, you would greet him, and the dog would greet you, and you would spend about maybe 2.5 to 3 minutes. You would pet the dog, You'd be talking to the dog, and you'd be talking to the guy. Just a little bit of small talk, It could just be what the weather's like, or how the dog. You could have the same conversation every single time. Always. It was always worth it. But here's the thing. That dog didn't smell. That dog was clean. It was friendly. Like, I think that was the kind of dog who's never bitten anyone ever and never will, right? Like, if there's dog heaven, that dog went to dog heaven. It was that kind of dog. It was just a really friendly dog. Absolutely enjoy. And yeah, it was sad because that dog died, and then he got a new one, and the new one was also very friendly. And then at one point, the old man died, and at one point there was just no more dog on the street. It was like shit, Pugs suffer a lot. I know. I think there's a lot of issues with breathing that they have, right? And also, I feel bad for huskies. Huskies are beautiful dogs, but having a husky in a 30 degrees Celsius environment, it's fucking murder, dude. It's fucking murder. Dachshund, thank you, man. Dachshunds, I love those. I like to really play with cats or annoy them. Dogs are meh, depending on the breed. I don't even differentiate that many dogs on breed, and one of the worst things was because, when you're in a relationship, you tend to have to meet people who the person you're dating knows, and it just happened that because my ex was a dog person, she'd know a lot of people with dogs, and then you have to meet someone with a dog, and then because you're trying to be a normal human being and strike a conversation, you're like, oh, what's his name? And then they tell you the name, like, what breed is he? And then they'll say something, and I'm just like, okay. I've got no idea what they said. Something mixed with something. I'm just like, yeah, I've got no idea what the fuck that is. I differentiate like three different breeds of dogs. The rest are just dogs. So yeah, how's it going, bud? Cozza, my dude, my favorite bricklayer in the world. Well, the only one that I actually know. Dude, I was gonna fucking say something. I missed it. How's England with the COVID-19? Are you guys also under quarantine, or is it? Yeah, because I haven't followed along with it. Is it hot in Slovenia for a husky? I don't think Slovenia is perfect for a husky. It's not too bad, but I don't think it's ideal either. During winter, sure, but no. I think, and one thing about dogs is, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that the bigger the dog is, the more movement it requires. So it requires space, it requires walks. One of the things that pisses me off, there's two things that hurt me that I see when I'm riding my bike, and that is people in the city that are taking dogs for walks and people in the city who are taking kids in their strollers. Because, you know, I'm like, first and foremost, I would never be able to have a kid and have him in a stroller and you know, put him onto a tiny ass fucking pavement with cars doing 70 kilometers an hour, you know, half a feet away, because that would creep the fuck out of me. Like, the chance that stroller just falls apart and that kid, just, you know, Black Mirror Final Destination kind of shit. The other thing is, these dogs that are just stuck in city centres, that live in closed environments, that have absolutely no movement, which I think is disgusting, right? Cats, on the other, I mean, yeah, you can differentiate. Our cat, for example, spends a lot of time outside. She doesn't have the ideal way to, like, really roam, because when I go riding in the farmlands about half a kilometre from here, I always see a lot of cats, you know, and you see these cats that are living on these farms and these villages. They have, like, forests, you know, they really can go wild. But that cat probably also doesn't spend that much time at home, and it also has a very high chance of getting killed by something or, you know, ran over by a car. And, yeah. People are buying shit paper like it's going out of fashion. They're panicking so much. Yeah, I was in the supermarket today, and it wasn't crisis quite yet, but it was pretty packed. You know, I think that tomorrow and after tomorrow are going to be horrible, and it's probably going to relax over the next week. But it's just, people are going nuts, man. Yeah, people are going nuts. My dad had a Samoyed, which is another sled dog, and he was very active with him. But if you left him home alone, he learned how to unlock and open the door, and he would run off into the forest for a day. Yeah, dogs need freedom. You know, so if you have a dog, you need to have time. You need to have time to take him for a walk. You know, and that's something that I personally wouldn't be able to do. I wouldn't be able to dedicate time in my day to take a dog for a walk. That said, you know, when JJ calls me, he's like, yo, can you take my dog for a walk? No problem. Because it's like a 5-minute thing. And sometimes, you know, it's actually quite relaxing. But if you have to do it every day, consistently, no. Because, you know, I'll give an example of what I find annoying is when my cat's in my room and it's sleeping. And then, you know, she decides that she no longer wants to sleep here. She wants to go somewhere else. What she'll start to do is, instead of, like, she won't come to wake me up. No, she'll just go and start clawing at the door. So you wake up and you can hear the cats just going hammer on the freaking door, and then you have to, you know, stand up, go to the door, open the door. She will then slowly exit, you know, and then you have to close the door and go back to sleep. And then 30 minutes later, you can hear her clawing again because she's changing her mind. She's like, oh, I want to sleep here again. You know, it's like, fuck, dude. This happened to me the first time. Jesus, dong awareness, mate. We get it. You know, you like dicks. Get out of here, mate. What was I going to say? Yeah, the first time I had my shift, so I had to wake up at 4 a.m, and I said to myself, I'm going to go to sleep at 8 p.m, right? I never go to sleep at 8 p.m. I said, I'm going to go to sleep at 8 p.m. just to make sure I get enough sleep so that when I wake up, I'm not completely disgusted. And that day, my cat comes into the room, and she's in the room as I go to sleep, and I thought to myself, whatever you do, just don't fucking do anything dumb. What this cunt does, I swear to God, she goes behind the bed, right? Because back in the room, I've got acoustic foam set across the wall, and she goes between the edge of the bed and that thing, and she starts clawing at both at the same time. So the entire bed is practically shaking. And because the side of the bed is extremely high, I can't really reach my hand down there. So now instead of sleeping, because I was about to fall asleep, I have to now try to get the cat first out of that crevice, move her out of it, and then sort of, you know, get out of the room. By the time I got to do that, I was no longer feeling like sleeping. Absolutely pissed. But that happens once in a year, so it's not a big deal. Where are you working? Well, at the moment, nowhere, because the thing's closed. for the next 14 days, obviously with the quarantine. But I need to do 400 hours of. I was about to say community service just to fuck with you. No, I work in a prep kitchen basically. So it's a chain of restaurants, like 3 or 4 restaurants they have in Slovenia, and I work in a place that preps the stuff that then gets shipped. You know, so like we'll prep the burgers that then go into the burger joint, and we'll prep the briskets that go to. Dude, I was working yesterday, and the guy that. Jeez, I just realised that my fingers are completely cut. I got a really serious cut in my finger from. I was filleting fish, and I must have. Gee, yeah, I'm full of cuts. Anyway, yeah, the guy that it was just 2 of us, and the other guy was the guy that makes the meat. So he marinates the meat, and it was smoked brisket, and he said, I think he said 5 hours of smoking and then 2 hours at 100 degrees. Dude, it was so freaking good. You know, it was like he cut a few slices of it, and it was like, when I saw the slice, I thought that's a lot of fat on that slice of meat. That fat would just melt in your mouth, like in the flavor of star anise, garlic, pepper, salt, and that just oh, it was so, like, right now I wanna sit in the car, drive there, break into the fucking building, just to steal one of those freaking £5 briskets. It's delicious. It was absolutely delicious. So yeah, thick leather gloves for cutting bloody salmon. I wasn't actually cutting salmon, I was cutting sea bass. I had some issues going through the bones. The biggest issue is, because when you cut a fish, you start just behind the gills, you make an incision in, and then you go along the back, along the spine, either above or below, and because when I was cutting, it had scales, you have to first sort of cut the scales off, and then the knife slips in, and you go along the spine, and then you cut off the 2 fillets, and then you also have to remove the rib cage. So it's a bit of work, but not that bad. Mise en place, yep. Well, not. I wouldn't say it's mise en place, but you're preparing. I guess you're preparing the mise en place. You are kind of making mise en place. How do you feel like cilantro? I don't even think we have cilantro. We just have parsley, and it's the worst thing you can get. The worst thing you can get when you walk in the morning at 6, and on the list it says 1/2 kilogram of chopped parsley. It is just the shittiest thing, because what you have to do for 1/2 kilogram of parsley, every single leaf taken off, and you fill these 3 giant ass fucking plastic bins full of parsley leaves, and you go to weigh them and you realise you're still freaking like 200 grams short. And then before you chop that stuff, it takes forever, because you start with a knife just to reduce the volume, and then you take one of those big ass like just weirdo saw cutting, cheese cutting devices, and you just hack. Like, you're literally chopping parsley for like 35 minutes, you know. And chances are they don't even use the entire lot, you know. It's just like, fuck you, dude. If you're not going to use all that parsley, like, why the fuck are you chopping it? But it's fun, because like I said, we got radio in the background. It's a really nice group of folk. Like, you're talking a little bit in between, you fuck around a bit. The guys love to drink. They keep taking shots of something. I'm always like, sorry guys, I'm driving, I can't do it. But, you know, yeah. It's quarantine in my country. It will be raining for the big part of the week. Should I cycle in the rain and all? Where do you live, man? Junkers? I'm guessing Netherlands, just from the name. The weather here, so it's been raining today and it stopped. It's saying that tomorrow there's about a 20% chance of rain. I'm personally going to go right tomorrow. Oh shit, 16. That's not good. It's at 60 kilometer an hour winds, and it's going to start at 10 in the morning. So unless I do the ride, I don't know, I'll find a way. Usually if it's very windy, I go on this one climb. If it's windy, go to that one climb that's facing away from the wind and just go up and down the same climb. So you basically have minimum wind. That's what I tend to do. But yeah, we got sun on Sunday, sun on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's looking good. Next week is looking very nice for cycling. And then rain the end of the week as well. So yeah. Lithuania? Yeah, I'd go for it. I'd say go for it. Talking about Netherlands, they cancelled all events above 100 people, but not schools. We did the same thing, so I'm guessing it's going to hit now. Do you live in Ljubljana? Yes. I'm the capital boy. Let me see if I missed anything on my phone, any notifications. Nothing whatsoever, and I like that. I like nice and peace. Tomorrow's about 1 degree with winds. Wait, 1 degree with winds of 34? Dude, that's no way. You don't go out on that wind. If it's above 20, it's not worth riding. We have 11. Well, it's not really 11. It's going to be between 8 and 10 degrees. 8 and 10 degrees, but adding 14-degree weather, it's going to feel like 7. Is Ljubljana on lockdown because of Corona? I think the lockdown begins on Monday. Yeah, so people are still doing some shopping. But I personally, look, here's the thing. I'm not actually scared of Corona. Like, I'm not scared of getting it or having to get over it. What I'm scared of is potentially infecting someone else, right? AKA my parents, more so my grandparents. So because of that, I'm going to keep myself on a cut down, sort of just do this quarantine for the 14 days, and then see what happens. I hate the panic. I mean, I don't mind it that much. Sorry, but I'm not very good with languages, but are you from Slovenia? I am. Finland, over 500 people events closed. The country's hockey league was closed. Yeah, it's everything's been cancelled. One thing I was thinking about today that I'm actually very happy about is my country last year in December I applied for 7 races. And they came in packs of 3 and packs of 4. In total, I paid about €120 for all these races. And this year, I decided not to pay. I don't know why. I was being a bit because the 3 pack didn't exist, but the 4 race pack was €74, and I missed the day when it was still discounted. So I thought what I would do is I would trick them because they use the same numbers. That I would just pay for the first event, keep the number, and just use the same number on all the events and just join the events for free. Because I don't need the little bag of goodies you get, and I don't need 50. I always get socks. They always give me the same freaking brand of socks in size 37 when my leg is sized 46. What the fuck am I going to do with a sock size 37? So I thought I was going to do that, but they've moved the event into April now. And the more I think about it, Formula 1 was cancelled. It was supposed to be this or next weekend. Everything's getting cancelled. All the bike races, all the events. I'm very happy that I did Rammstein last year, because if I had tickets for this year, obviously in August it's probably going to be different, but you never know. You never know. So I'm very, very happy that I got that out of the way and I don't have to stress out. Yeah, new Bond movie postponed. I don't really give a fuck about the new Bond movie. Bond movie. Yeah, no, it's stressful. If I had I know my parents had have tickets bought for Greece in June or July. No idea how it's that gonna happen. So I'm just happy I'm happy I didn't invest in anything yet. So yeah. Worst case scenario this year will be raceless, right? In which case we just use it to train, and that's not really a bad thing. Spend the entire year training, spend the entire year working. I mean, to be honest, I already started this year in that same mentality. I started with a clean slate, with a different mentality, with a different approach, actually making it, not the whole new year, new me bullshit, Because the issue with the new year, new me bullshit, you say you're going to do it, but you don't actually do it. So I just did it without really saying I'm doing it, and then it's easier. Rammstein concert in the Netherlands was already cancelled before Corona, really? That's unfortunate, man. Anybody knows there's a set date in Romania going into lockdown? My girlfriend's parents want to go back because of her death. That's also uncomfortable, man. Like, if you have to go or return somewhere, you know. Or I guess the worst thing is if you're in a foreign country and you get locked in the quarantine. Like, if you're in Italy right now and you're locked. There was a clip on Reddit I saw today of an Italian city where, like, all the Italians were just singing in unison. It was really beautiful. Also a little bit scary, you know. Should we go into Italy for photography workshop in June? Kind of skeptic about it. Yeah, that. I don't know, man. It's like, I don't know. I think it's scary. You know, it's scary how we don't really know what's gonna happen, like, or where it's gonna go. Or, you know. Have you heard of the Lindemann tool controversy? I'm on. I know what happened. I mean, till the end, the video and the Rammstein remix. I don't really mind it. I'm probably one of the few people that don't give a fuck about what he does. But you know, it's because I'm a Rammstein fan. I'm always going to be a Rammstein fan. I don't want. I'm you know, unless he would do something really, really like degenerate and disgusting, I would have a very hard time like not liking the guy. Would normally go with a car, but it's quite fucked with 80 hours of wait time to be checked and shit. Yeah, right now it's scary. For example, all the trucks that are leaving our country are being stopped. So they're just sitting there. You know, like no food, no water, nothing's being provided to them. It's scary. You know, it's fucked up. There is a part of this. I had the moment today when I went to the supermarket. I talked to about 3 or 4 people in the store, who had like a light-hearted approach. For example, the fishmonger. The fishmonger, I struck a conversation with because when I was picking out the fish, he said, "I'm sorry, mate, I can't clean this fish for you because there's a lot of people behind." You know, usually when you take the fish, he will have to cut the abdomen, take out the interior. He will, brush the scales off. And when he said that, you know, usually people get turned off, like, "Oh no, then I won't take the fish," or maybe give me that fish that's already cleaned. And I was just like, "No problem, mate. You know, I'm a cook." So, in fact, when I go to the supermarket, I tend to prefer to get a fish that's whole and hasn't been cleaned yet because, you know, the more times you do it, you know, the more times you clean a fish, the more times you debone something, the more times you chop something, the more times you cut something, the better you get at it. So the guy was very happy and we sort of struck a conversation. He was like, "Yeah, I also went to this school. It's nice to see people do this and that." So yeah, it's still very weird with me that Till got a BJ from the Ram Plus backstage while his pals were performing. Just feels wrong. I mean, it's like, you know. I mean, you know, we're talking about the same guy who in 1996 in Berlin, you know, pulled out a fake dick and started, you know, freaking jizzing over Flake, you know, on stage. So like we're talking about the same dudes who, you know, have Pussy as a song and freaking drive a giant ass, you know, freaking dick across the stage and just jizz all over the public. Like, you know, it obviously is controversial, yeah. And I guess in a way, you know, the worst part about it is that the actors from those 2 videos, so from Platz 1 and until the end of those actresses, the Russian actresses, were getting some hate on social media, but that just shows, you know, the degenerate sort of man-childs that you know live in the world, I guess. Hope you're all doing fine. Hey Rex Roy, we're doing fantastic, man. Thank you, dude. Thank you, dude. On the topics of dogs, which breed gave you a bad impression? I can't say because I don't really differentiate breeds. Like, for me, the whole thing about dogs and breeds is like, it's not about bad impressions. It's dogs and breeds for me is exactly the same way as walking down the street and seeing women, right? Some I'm attracted to, some I'm not attracted to, and that's just what it boils down to, right? And again, there can be a woman that looks amazing, but her personality is absolute dog shit. You know, you can have big tits, but if there's nothing to talk about, keep them. You know. So, yeah, it's they got literal death threats in, if I recall correctly. Yeah, they did. Did you get into the jizz range of the concert? I didn't. No, I was outside, just outside where the fence pass is. But I had a very, very decent position because I urged my girlfriend to, for us to go in quite early, because I was like, I want to, this is Rammstein, this means a lot to me. I want to be up there in the front. You planning on doing more chatting streams? I had some thoughts about doing maybe a podcast thing, but I'm not entirely sure how to merge. First and foremost, I talked about this before. I'm not a fan of the camera, right? Not a huge fan of the camera, but I don't mind doing this on a stream. Now, if I took the recording from the stream and I put it into a SoundCloud folder, or just straight up uploaded it to YouTube as a Doom time, that is something I could get behind, right? And then maybe take the top comments from YouTube, begin with those, put them in here. That would be something that makes sense. And if I did this maybe once a week, I think that would be fantastic. On a weekend when I know I have time, however long. That's one of the biggest rules. However long. If I feel like only doing a 30-minute stream, sure. If I feel like doing a 5-hour stream, sure. But just sit here, talk. The problem is with those things, if I go and eat something, if I go and drink something, how is that going to sound in the audio? So just got to play around with some things, but the idea is there. As I said before, because currently the channel has nothing going on it, I've been thinking I might just upload something. Maybe just throw something bike-related on there, throw something food-related on there, throw something podcast-related on there, and just see what the fuck people say. Worst case scenario, they don't like it. Who gives a fuck? I can't lose anything. I got nothing to lose there, to be honest. Imagine being on lockdown. This meme was made by Britain Gang. Oh, man. Tattoo were a little bit controversial. I mean, the case here with what Lindemann did is it's quite very controversial, but none of it was against, he didn't do anything that the women that were in those clips or below the stage didn't consent to. None of it was against their consent. There was some issues where I think there were clips being played where their faces were not blurred though, but I guess it's a bit of a grey area there, I think that most people just don't realise what someone like Till gets to experience. Let me just touch onto this topic. This is another one of those topics I could speak for hours upon, and it's the feeling of power, right? For me, when I think of the word theOrangeDoom, it reminds me of a time in War Thunder when I was at a god level, right? There was a time when I was so good at everything, right? There is a peak in every person's gaming career or any career. There's a peak. There's a point where you are at your best, and for me, that point in War Thunder, combined with the streaming, combined with the sort of influence, I got to experience firsthand, even though it was on a smaller scale than that of Rammstein or fucking, I don't know, Joe Rogan or Jimmy Kimmel or Tom Hanks, who's got COVID-19, I've heard. But there was a feeling of power, right? I guess is the closest that I've been to feeling what it feels to be like God, right? And maybe I'm playing with words here, but power, pure power. And that is something that's been driving me on the bike. I wouldn't describe it as rage, I wouldn't describe it as anger, but it is the type of power, right? I don't think power has a very happy connotation to it. I don't think you can be like, for example, imagine a dude doing a really difficult lift, right? Like one of those strongmen, you know, like the mountain or whatever. I don't think they've ever done a deadlift looking like this. You know, because in order to produce that kind of strength, that kind of pure power, you have to dig deep. Like, you really have to dig deep, not just physically, but mentally. I think it's a mental thing. And so when I think about cycling, one of my favorite things is this feeling when you're going for a KOM, right? On Strava, there's these segments, and when you go for a KOM, that's when you decide for the next whatever kilometers, whatever time I have to reach, I'm going to go max out. And you realize, and you get to get really close to that feeling of that power at the very end. It's when you already know, right? Let's say a classic example is, let's say it's a 10 kilometer segment. So for 10 kilometers, you have to go and ride at an average speed of 42 kilometers an hour. That's very, very difficult, right? Let's say that's the case, right? And on your computer, right, you're looking at, it will be saying, okay, you're now 5 seconds behind the fastest person. And then 2 kilometers in, it will say, now you're 7 seconds ahead of that person. And as that gap opens up, as you start to see those numbers go from 1 digit to 2 digits to perhaps a minute, and you think, holy fuck, I'm so strong. And then this segment finishes with a climb, and the last 250 meters, when you're already exhausted and your pulse is 185, instead of relaxing, even though you already have a minute and a half, 2 minute advantage, you already know you've won. You already know you've bettered that, but no, you dig even deeper. You dig so deep. There was a moment where I was going for, this wasn't even a KOM, this was just a personal record. I was going up a climb, this was in January. I had gone up and down the same hill 4 times, and then down the other side, and I don't know why, but something came over me. I was like, I'm gonna just do it today, right? Like, I didn't plan to do a PR that day, and if I was planning a PR that day, I wouldn't have done 4 climbs the other side. I would have maybe just done 2. It was cold, the air wasn't optimal, I wasn't feeling that strong, but I just went for it. I remember coming halfway up the climb. I can see that I'm already ahead of my personal record. And that's when, because I'm listening to music, Funky Town turns on. The song that I had playing that was giving me a lot of motivation had turned off, and Funky Town starts playing, you know. Da, 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 da. I can't fucking climb to that. Like, that's not a song that's going to give me strength. So in the middle of climbing and being exhausted, I'm like clicking on my Bluetooth thingy to like change it to a different song. And then Rammstein comes on. Benzene, and I'm like, fuck, it's like on a hot day somebody just poured water over your face. Like, I'm refreshed, I'm refurbished, I've got energy again. You start kicking. I remember the last 150 meters I stood up, and the moment I stood up, my legs were in so much pain that the level of exhaustion when you do a segment like this, you're on the bike, you are no longer capable of looking ahead of you. You're no longer seeing what's in front of you. You're looking down at your front tire, and you're looking just ahead of the front tire. Effectively, your ability to see what's in the road. Like, if the road just, I don't know, if a meteorite just hit it and there's just a fucking crater, you wouldn't see that crater until the moment you're about to fall in. So you're looking down at the road. You're effectively nearly blind by the pain, but you're just digging deeper into that reserve tank. And your legs feel like mush. Your legs almost feel like they don't exist, right? And you push through the pain, and the moment you go over this, I call it the saddle of the climb. I don't know what it's actually called in English, but just the top. It's such a cathartic feeling. Looking down at the computer and seeing that you've improved your personal record on this climb by an entire minute. You know, I went from like 6 minutes 30 to like 5 minutes 30. It was incredible. But it's not enough, because you come home and you see that the fastest dude did it in under 5 minutes. There's still 30 seconds to spare. You know, so boom, back for the grind for a year. At the end of the year, maybe you'll try it again. You know, and I've been searching for that power ever since. I've been searching, craving for that power in life. Out of all the things, as much as I crave the love and compassion of a person, right? That's something I've missed for the past couple of months. As much as I miss that feeling of like having a comfort zone, you know, like the feeling of, I guess maybe it's easy to describe like as a warm home, right? As much as I have that, you just most of the time don't really pay attention to it. I've been really looking for that sort of power crave, because ever since Warthner stopped, ever since I stopped streaming, you lose that connection. And what I was trying to connect to when it comes to Lindemann and what he did, he's a person who has, when he comes up on the stage there as the lead singer of Rammstein, he's looking at 50 to 70,000 people. Okay? The most viewers I ever had was like, what, 1,000? Maybe 1,000? I didn't remember. Maybe it was 1,500. None of those were in real life. None of those were in front of me. If I imagine right now when I was in college and I was making a presentation in front of the entire classroom and having a bit more rhetoric ability than most people, I guess I was able to get their attention a bit more. You know, so there's like maybe 40, 50 people there, you know, with their eyes stared at me, looking at what I'm going to say or what I'm going to talk about. 50 people versus 50,000. It's unfathomable. I don't think our minds can comprehend how incredible it is for him to be that on that stage with all those flames going up, with all these people screaming, with all the phones being, you know, can you imagine that you're walking down the street and there's a person that just come up to you and he just has his phone up, like, hey dude, can I take a picture? Now imagine 50,000 people, all holding their phones up. I don't think anybody can fathom that. It's such an amount of people. And so to think that Lindemann, you know, and all these other musicians and actors and famous people, to think that they can have a normal life is very, very difficult. Very, very difficult. You know, one of the things that I loved about being a streamer, because it was gaming related, was that I knew that even if I met a girl that was into ish gaming, she wouldn't look at me as something more. Whereas if I was an actor, if I was a successful musician, they tend to look at that, you know, at least in my mind, people tend to look at that as like, you're something more, right? Like as if you're something more than just a human being who's living here, breathing the same air, you know, shitting in the same freaking, you know, sewer system. At the end of the day, you know, is there a big difference? Man, I got sidetracked like crazy. 2 hours and 33 minutes. Fucking hell, man. Love these streams, love watching you. Thank you, man. I appreciate that some people have actually combined here to actually listen to me rant. 85 people, mate. That's my favourite thing. You know, just sitting here, ranting. That's why famous people have to shit private life, many divorces. They can choose only from themselves. Yeah. That's the thing. You don't want to be famous. You know, you don't want that kind of power. And one of the things that I've hated about social media is that it's a form of a dopamine hit, right? Like, every time you make a post, every time you make a story, every time you do anything on social media, there is a reaction that follows. And the question is, how big is that reaction? How quick is that reaction? How intense is that reaction? And it boils down to the effect of validation. You know, the more people that like a picture, the better you feel. The more people that comment nice things, the better you feel. And this is a horrible, horrible thing that we get used to. I personally got very, very deeply rooted into this, where, you know, if a certain number wasn't reached, like, oh no, this post only got 170 likes in the first 3 days, you know, oh no, it was a bad post, I fucked up, and yeah, I spent so much time writing that thing and nobody read it. It's like, no one gives a fuck. You know, that thing that I posted a year ago, I didn't give a fuck about posting it. You know, why would anybody else? Perhaps one of the hardest things to go by was, and this was the weirdest one, on Strava. On Strava, every time you do a ride, people will give you kudos, right? There's only two things you can do. You can give people a thumbs up, right, which is a kudos, or you can leave them a comment. Comments are usually not left. Most people that leave comments are just, they leave comments like extravagant rides, like really difficult long rides, or they make comments like make a bit of fun, or maybe it's like, you know, oh hey, we met at this and this location, you know, when you were riding, and you get used to certain people, for example, giving you kudos, right? And then suddenly when you don't get those kudos, you don't feel the validation. It feels like, oh no, why did I go on the bike today if I didn't get the kudos that I wanted? It's a horrible thing. Like, are you riding your bike because you want to get those likes? Or are you riding the bike because you actually want to ride the bike? And this is why one of the horrible things about, this isn't just cycling culture, but I'm going to speak upon the cycling culture, especially on Instagram, is it's very popular for people to go and try to have Instagram pages entirely based around them posting pictures, right? Like, you know, really amazing views or climb, or their amazing bike, you know, or their amazing clothing on the bike, or them in amazing clothing on a bike with an amazing view in the background with an amazing road. All that is brilliant, but are you out there riding or are you out there taking pictures? Because well, I still do this once in a while. There are days where, I think it was on Sunday, I went on this one ride. I went up a climb that I didn't even know had tarmac. And I came around this corner. There were these two mountain bikers. I overtake them. I say hi. And the moment I overtake them, the forest opens up. And I'm left with this view that's just breathtaking. It's a view from a position that I didn't know I could have a view of. You know, I could see all the like a mountain range that I climbed a week before that, a road that I've travelled many, many times. I could see the river, you know, and it was an angle and a sunny day, and it was, thank you, Zal, that's the word I'm looking for. It was breathtaking. And the moment you see that, the first thing I wanted to do was just, my hand went from my back pocket, which is where my phone was, just so I could grab my phone. And I pulled my phone out, and it's crashed. It's not turned on. So before I can turn this damn thing on, I thought, before I turn it on, you know, and even if the phone's turned on, by the time you get the angle and by the time you get, like, fuck the phone, dude, just enjoy the bloody view. And that's one of the most painful things, you know, like that we go somewhere and it's like, it has to be a picture. Like, I find myself so often, I'll cook something and I'll put it on the plate and I'm about to start eating. I look at my phone. I'm like, not again. There's a temptation. I need to show the world what I'm eating. It's like everybody has to know what I'm going to eat today. Like, for fuck's sake. You know? And I've really been trying to fight against that because it's an addiction. And I've realized that what my life in particular is, it's a form of many, many different addictions. One of these addictions was my relationship. I didn't think about it, you know. It didn't hit me until the moment that I realized I got addicted to this. Look, this calendar I showed before. This was, for me, I started doing this because I thought it was going to be a way for me to keep a routine. But I realized that now that I'm 2.5 months in, that I'm dealing with an addiction. Every single, hold on if you can see this. Yeah, it's a very, very, every circle you can see is a bike ride. Every X you can see is a workout. When I started doing this, I realized that the moment that I couldn't go on a bike for 2 days, I felt anxiety. I felt this desire to just drop everything that I was doing and go on a bike. You know, There were days where I was coming from university and I would be driving 170 kilometers an hour on the highway just so that I could get home faster. Like even if it was just 5 minutes quicker, so I can have 5 minutes more on the bike. I realized that I was addicted to it. Right, and in a way, it wasn't a bad case of an addiction. If you're addicted to eating sugar every day, if you're addicted to drinking Coca-Cola every day, that's a problem. If you're addicted to drinking water, that's not a problem. Everybody needs water. Like right now, I'm thirsty. I'm going to drink. Fuck, that feels good. And that's delicious. And all it is tap water. You know, nothing. No sugar, no bullshit. So as I mentioned before, for example, relationship, that was an addiction because you get addicted to the idea that everywhere you go, everything you do, you have this person next to you, you know, and it's amazing. Sure, you go through the honeymoon phase, you see all these things, you go to all these concerts, you meet all these new people, you know, you do all this amazing stuff. And then at one point you realize when it cuts, you were in the withdrawal mode. Like, it's no different than if you're playing Wolfenstein for 7 years and then stop playing it, you're going to have the withdrawal. It's like every once in a while, man, I'll just play one match, you know, like I'll just have one little match. The problem of all these things is the question, what do you do without it? What happens to you once you can't do those things no more? And that was a painful thing for me. You know, what would I do right now if I couldn't ride? This reminds me of when I crashed my bike and I opened up. I still have a little bit of scarring here on these three fingers. There's like a probably a quite permanent scar there from the crash. I mentioned this before, but as I was riding back, you know, my hands completely covered in blood. One of the first thoughts that popped into my head was, because I didn't put the gloves on, I thought, well, at least I didn't tear a hole in the gloves. You know, it was a dumb thought. And I felt angry and I felt like sort of betrayed myself. And because this was like, wow, this happened probably less than a month, or maybe just about a month after the breakup, I thought to myself like, fuck, you know, if I was still in a relationship, this wouldn't have happened. I wouldn't have to go through all this pain. And I had a little depressive stage. And the moment I was about to come home, there's this road that goes underneath the railway, and as I start driving down, there's a woman pushing a dude in a wheelchair, and his legs are missing. And I look at him and I think to myself, fuck, this is nothing. I've got fingers, they function, both of my legs work, I can breathe, you know, and like it. There must be a word for this, but seeing that dude in that moment had cured me of all the pain. Right? I mean, I don't know. Is that a bad thing? That's how I felt. I saw this dude whose legs were missing, and I thought, fuck, my life ain't that bad after all. It could be worse, you know. And that sort of changed my view of things, because, you know, our first reaction always is, fuck, I shouldn't have done that. You know, like, it would be nice if my freaking arms were still attached. You know, it'd be nice if I didn't go through this shit. But yeah, it was like, you know, I always remember Barry. Barry, some of you guys remember, me and her had a really weird relationship, like a very sort of barely existent relationship. But there was one thing she said that at the time was so like, oh, what the fuck are you, what is she even saying? She said, everything happens with a reason. And I don't know why, but that shit stuck with me to this day. And every time something goes bad or wrong, I remind myself of what she said. Everything happens with a reason. And I looked back at it, and it's like, yeah, you know, this is where we are now. These are all the things that we did that we wouldn't have done had that not happened. And you have to look at life through this lens. For me, it's one of the things that sort of gives reason. Now, I don't believe in this whole like universal faith. I don't believe that, you know, if we don't do anything, that things will happen or won't happen. You know, it's not like for example, like I want to find a dream person, right? You want to, let's say you want to marry someone, right? You want to find a person you're going to marry, like whatever you are. Personally, not me. I don't want to marry anymore. I've seen fair shit of shit, but you're not going to find them if you don't go around places, right? But the chances are that there is this. Maybe I look at it nowadays as I'm older through more of a mathematical perspective, especially ever since the music on my phone, I started thinking about it. If I'm in the car and I put the playlist on shuffle, it happened in the morning. Today morning, I was in the car. I put my playlist, 644 songs, on shuffle. And just as I drove out onto the main street, I thought to myself, fuck, I would love to hear Future from Boris Brejcha. And I skipped forward 5 songs. Boris Brejcha, Future. And I was like, what in the fuck? Like, what are the odds? What are the odds? The odds are 5 in 644. And so the weirdness of it all is all the engagement. For example, in terms of relationships, my ex-relationship was one of those where I thought about this a lot. I think, because I'm trying to remember what it was. I calculated this. This is how much of an obsessive behavior I had when I broke up. Me and her, we were together for 18 months, which was like, I think it was 6%. No, not 6. 16 or 18% of my entire life, right? And out of the 18 months that I knew her, we were only friends for like less than a month, because I basically met her, and we immediately started dating, right? And because I'm a weird person, it wasn't like I see this now, right? You go on a date, right? And things happen in between, and then at some point, after things have been happening, you're like, okay, this, maybe we can be exclusive, maybe you can be my girlfriend. Not me, motherfucker. My brain's fucked up. For me, it was like, we went out once or twice, and in my mind, this is my girlfriend. Like, I didn't say it, but that's how I approached her. At that point, I was no longer looking at any other woman. It was like, this is it. We're committing to this shit. And so when, this is the classic thing, the classic dilemma of a breakup. We should just be friends. It's like, hold on a minute here, homie. I've only known you, right? I mean, I've known you for about, 18% of my life? But you've only been a friend for a fraction of that. Like, you've been a friend barely. I barely know you as a friend. So, it's impossible. You can't be friends with someone if... I guess this is the thing. I mean, if you were friends with this person for your entire life, and then you had an intimate relationship with them for a certain amount of time, then yeah, I think you could continue that friendship, because you revert back to what it used to be. But what are you reverting back to? We were strangers, we didn't know each other, then we were dating, now we don't know each other anymore. You can't revert to a friendship if you don't know that person anymore. It's quite easy for men to get into that. It's very easy for men to get into that, especially if you've been single for a long time. And at that time, I had been single for about 1.5 years, 2 years. I was desperate, dude. I was desperate, I was throwing a bone. And not just that, I was throwing a challenge. The girl that I met, yeah, she was beautiful, and she was smart and attractive and all these things that, men get about. But here's the challenge. First and foremost, she was vegan, right? I was like, fuck, dude, she's vegan. What am I going to do with this shit? I can't, it's like, Number 2, she was a runner, right? Now, I'm not against running. I used to actually run casually, never trained it. Like, maybe I run 6-7 times a year, active runner, my ass. So she was a runner. And number 3, which is a weird one, but she was living in a dorm room, right? And actually, if she wasn't living in the dorm room, it would have never came out the way it was. But these 3 things were sort of the things I couldn't really get behind. The dorm room, I felt, was uncomfortable. I didn't feel comfortable being there, like, because it was a shed, it was a small room, and I kind of felt weird, because at the time that I met her, I wasn't actually studying in university. I was a dropout, so it was like, I'm going to dude, forget it. Big brain making big questions. So I didn't like the idea that she was in a dorm room. And the second thing I didn't like, the whole veganism thing, and obviously the running. The running was killing me because our first couple of dates were going out for a run, and we would, because she had been running at that point for quite a while. And dude, she was quick, so we go for a run, and like 3 kilometers in, I'm feeling a bit gaslit. So what I started doing is, instead of like saying, hey, I'm tired, can we stop? I just start conversing, because the more we were talking, the less we were running, the more we were walking, right? So we would slow down the pace. We'd end up running 3 kilometers, walking for 5 kilometers, And I think it must have been a period of about 3 months. In about a period of 3 months, she went from being a vegan to being a pescatarian, right? Those of you who don't know what pescatarian is. So vegan doesn't eat any products that came from animals. A vegetarian will eat butter, eggs, milk, cream, and so on. And a pescatarian will add fish to that. So obviously no meat, no chicken, no beef, no pork, but fish. And that for me that's something I can get behind. Me personally, if I had to downgrade from eating poultry, beef, and pork, I would downgrade to a pescatarian. Could completely get behind that ordeal. In fact, most of my diet, if I look at it through a weekly basis, is I'm a vegetarian for like 4 days of the week. I'm a meat eater for 2 days of the week, and I try to be a pescatarian for 1 day of the week because fish is healthy. So the pescatarianism was turned away. She found the love for cycling and fell in love with it. So that was boom. I didn't have to worry about running anymore, because running I didn't feel that comfortable doing. I wasn't that into it. And it was amazing having someone that you could ride on a bike with. Which left the question of the dorm room. Now, the dorm room, I think she was paying like 100 quid for. And I don't recall this. I legit don't have a memory of how it happened. But she was staying with my family more and more and more. And at one point, I was just like, why don't you just stay here? Like, I mean, what's the difference? Instead of paying the freaking 100 quid for that stupid tiny dorm room, you could just stay here, Like, you don't have to pay for anything, But she would always pay for some of the groceries, And I really, really enjoyed that. So when I thought back about it, these 3 things, and yeah, there's some others. It was, I don't know what to really describe it. It's like you have a recipe, like somebody brings a recipe. Ironically, the bread recipe I use, she found it. It was a recipe for a completely different bread, for a completely different style of bread. But I took that recipe, I got really high one day, I mixed it in a different way, I applied it in a different method, and what came out was bread that was really, really had like potential. So I tweaked it the next day, tried again. With bread, you have to do a couple of batches. Like, you're talking maybe like 2 months of batches. But the bread that I make now, not just is it quick, brain dead to make, it's absolutely delicious. And it's so simple. Like, no cleaning, no mess, like no kneading, So it's, as if fish wasn't meat, it's not classified the same way as meat, right? I know what it's like. Trust me, for me, it makes sense. So those people who just eat everything doesn't make sense. But to me, it makes sense. Vegan, vegetarian, pescatarian, omnivore. All right. There's others. There's a fruitarian. There's some weird ones, dude. I even say that veganism has like different hues of it. Some people just freaking want to eat grass. You still living with your parents? I am, yeah, because practically with the distance from where I am to college, I did some math. If I had an apartment where the university is, I would literally be paying nearly twice as much as it costs to commute there with a car. So, frankly, the cost effectiveness just absolutely isn't worth it. After I finish school, I'm likely going to be looking at traveling, maybe staying abroad, doing some work in different restaurants, because I want to meet different cultures. I want to meet different. I want to ride on my bike in different places. That's basically about it. Ever thought about going full on carnivore? No. I'll tell you why I don't want to go full carnivore is because if you were to give me the nicest piece of meat, right? Like whenever I have a nice steak, and I don't have a nice steak very often, I tend to go for cheap cuts of meat and just make them in delicious ways. I love veggies. You know, my breakfast is of late, because I said I had breakfast. I have breakfast every morning now. So I went from a person who would wake up at lunchtime and would never have breakfast to a person who could wake up at 4:20 and have a completely normal breakfast. What I love is I love having a 2-egg omelette with my bread that I make. And what I tend to add is bell peppers and onion. So I'll cut bell peppers into slices and onions into slices, and I'll saute them in a pan, take them out of the pan, make the omelette, take the omelette out, and then I would actually toast the bread so the bread has a bit of a crunch to it. What I've also lately started doing is making scrambled eggs with buckwheat porridge with onions and mushrooms. I make that in advance, so it's in the fridge. I just put half of a Tupperware into it, and it's just delicious. It's so good. What the fuck is that emote, Rex? Sellout Kappa SG. Jesus Christ. I don't even know that thing exists, man. Yeah, and I absolutely agreed. What was I saying? I absolutely love having breakfast because I feel, well, I want to say that I feel full for the rest of the day, but I don't. Usually I have the breakfast, I go to class, after 1.5 hours of sitting in class, I get fucking starving, I get really hungry. But yeah, seeing that I'm trying to bulk, seeing that I'm trying to gain some weight, it's the one and only way to actually do it. But yeah, when you say, would you go a full-on carnivore? No, because there's nothing fun about being a full carnivore. Like just eating meat. Joe Rogan did a carnivore diet, and the thing he said is he has uncontrollable shits. You know. But besides that, I love yogurt. Yogurt is one of the things that I can't live without. Absolutely love it. I love been addicted to bell peppers lately, especially with all the vitamin C it has. Lemons, dude, I love lemonade. I love, today I had salmon with a bit of lemon on top. Stuff like cheesecake, so many different, I'm not a big dessert person, I hate cake, but there's some desserts that are just divine if made well. I've been drinking a lot of milk as well lately, just sort of like it. There's so many things, but especially as a cyclist. As a cyclist, I live off of carbohydrates, and if there's one thing that defies me, and I couldn't live without, that's bread. I could not live without bread. So I sometimes have bread with pasta, dude. I shit you not. I will have pasta and I'll have a thick slice of bread with it. Like, love it. A little bit of cheese on top too. You know how weird I am? I eat raw toast. Straight out of the bag. Right? I don't find it dry, in fact. I could eat an entire bag of toast. Dry. Nothing on it. Just dry toast. Or just munch it like it's nothing. So yeah. Human digestive system isn't made to be full carnivore or herbivore. Everything should be balanced. Yeah. Yeah. If we were meant to be vegan, our intestines would be twice as long. Probably would have 2 stomachs. You know, I use the same example when I talked about the whole vegan approach. I don't think being vegan is a solution. It's fine, you know, do it if you want to do it. I think it's dumb because I've seen what they eat. Again, I lived, well, I didn't live with her. She lived with me, my ex. And whilst I can't say that I lived with a vegan for a year, I can say I lived with a pescatarian for a year. For the best part, though, she was still eating mostly vegan things. So she would have, for example, rice, milk with oatmeals and fruit in the morning, bananas. She loved... Here's the thing, right? 90% certain she's right now probably living a 100% vegan life. But one of the things she loved avocado, toast, sesame seeds, and smoked salmon on top. Whew, if you've never had smoked salmon, mate, oh, you're missing out. That shit's delicious. Whew, add a bit of butter on that bad boy. Poof, it's delicious. So many combinations. For me, why I couldn't go vegan is because the amount of options you have turned to nothing, right? The amount of things that are usually very cultural based. For me, I'm a culture person. Slovenia has a ton of unique traditional dishes that unfortunately you can't make if you're vegan, because they're not vegan. Because these people that lived here, they lived so they can live. They didn't live, I said this before and I'll say it forever. I think it should be on a t-shirt, it should be written on every freaking page. The fact that today people can say that they're, XYZQ gendered, and the fact that they can say that they're going to live a lifestyle without consuming meat or meat-based products, or the fact that they're going to feed their cat a vegan diet, those of you who watch the Joe Rogan stand-up will know this one. All these things that make no sense, they're only capable because somewhere down the line, because all the way down the line, people did what had to be done. Because there was a prehistoric half-monkey man that ate some mushrooms, found fire, realized that he can make, take a rock, sharpen it, attach it to a fucking spear, take an entire tribe of people, jam a fucking mammoth so they can get meat out of it, so they can cook the meat, so they can feed more people, so they can fuck more people, so they can make more people, so that they can make a civilization, make cities, make trains, freaking invent airplanes, travel on. The only reason that you have the privilege now to be able to say, oh, I'm not going to eat this because, a fucking cow touched it. The only reason you can do that is because there were people for generations upon generations upon generations who suffered from it. I agree that, the industry is dog shit. That there's too much meat, that there's too much consumption in that terms. But that's not the solution. I think the problem is that when you have vegans,
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Hey, thanks, Rex, man. Appreciate that, dude. Appreciate that, man. Wibbo, man. Enjoy it. I was going to say, there's no opposite, right? If you were to go blue versus red, if you were to go left versus right, up versus down, black versus white, night versus day, what's the opposite of vegan? Yeah, it's a pure carnivore diet, which you can't do. You can try it, but most people can't do it. I've heard Jordan Peterson tried a carnivore diet. I don't know if he's on a 100% carnivore diet, but the reason why it doesn't work is because if we were carnivores, then we would have teeth, right, that were made to eat raw meat. That way we would run around, and every time you see a squirrel, instead of your cat standing in the window going, it would be you standing in the window, freaking running out there with a shotgun to shoot the squirrel and just bite off its freaking fluffy ears and start munching on it. Everything in moderation. That's another thing that I was taught. And so 100%, I think the solution to reducing the intake of the consumption of meat from the industry is just to adjust your diet so that you're eating meat once to twice a week, right? For me, the classic day that you have meat is Sunday. Your Sunday lunch, right? You have Sunday roast. Maybe it's a Sunday whole chicken that's baked. Maybe it's But man's gonna want to have burgers once in a while. No, some spare ribs and maybe a goulash. Like all these things are delicious. Nothing wrong with a nice steak. Nothing wrong with having some fish once in a while. Some calamari. Just, dude. If somebody asked me what would be your desire for your last supper, the answer is everything. Mate, give me fucking everything. Like, make me eat as much as I can eat. Like, I'll have one of everything before I get to see Mr. Devil down below. Before the Satan gets to pump his claws around. My parents say that Italians would kill me for eating spaghetti with bread. Who gives a shit? Would you have some personal tips for nature sightseeing in Slovenia? Me and my friends are going for a bike trip in June from Maribor through Croatia to the Athens. Jeez, that's a long one. Are you sure you're gonna have time for sightseeing when you from Maribor to Croatia border? There's literally like 50, 70 kilometers, probably less. Not much sightseeing to do. But if you're in Maribor, there's there's a mountain range to the northwest, which is, you know, going towards Austria, but it's a beautiful mountain range. There are a lot of climbing, so. I ever thought about doing a podcast? Every bloody day, mate. Every bloody day. I thought about doing a podcast, but because I'm going to be sitting here talking for 3 hours. It's incredible. You know, it's absolutely incredible. This never hits me, because one thing about streaming that's different than a normal conversation is that in a normal conversation, if right now I was talking to one person, then immediately, assuming that each one of us talks for about 50% of the time, I would only be talking for an hour and a half. But seeing that it's just me, and even that when you guys are speaking, it's actually me speaking for you because I have to read the fucking question. It's 3 hours of speaking. It's absurd. Ever been to Scandinavia? No, I have not. The furthest north that I've been from Slovenia was Munich, because I was in Legoland. I don't actually remember it. The second furthest north I've been that I do remember was Königssee. So that's where Hitler's eagle's nest is. Didn't see the eagle's nest, just saw the Königssee. The third closest to north I've been was Vienna, and that was in August. And I've also been there once before that I don't remember. In August, it was beautiful. I was there for 4 days, I think, with my girlfriend. We went to the Rammstein concert, and it was beautiful. I loved it. I mean, Vienna was something that really blew me away. The infrastructure, the people, most of it, I think the traffic, the way people drive there. Like, I've never felt so comfortable driving a car. I didn't have to think about it. It felt weird, because like, usually when you're in a car and you come to a new location, you're stressed out because you're like, you don't know which turn to make, you don't know if you're in the right lane, you don't know if you're making the right turn, you don't know if it's a one-way street. Dude, it felt natural. You just drive. And they have this genius way where when the light goes from green to red, it starts to flicker. So that instead of you driving, and then slamming the brakes because the light's closed, you actually see, okay, the light's about to close, let me just start slowing down. So that by the time the light's actually closed, you've come to a perfectly nice halt. Yeah, we don't have that in our country. Apparently we used to have it, but I hope that in the upcoming 10 years we all settle down and have our lives. Our mod team will manage to do a meetup when we finally see each other, go for a drink of beer and talk. That'll be a nice thing, man. That'll be a nice thing. Oh, by the way, Quetzal, Barry's in Poland. Spoken to her a few days back. She's she's in I think it's a student exchange program. I mean, I forget. Is she? Oh, I don't think she's in Warsaw though. Maybe no. I don't know. I've got like 3 friends now. Like, one girl is in Lodz. Barry, I think, is in Warsaw. I might be wrong. Or is it... Nah, it's not. Maybe, probably Krakow. I got another dude who's a pilot who's also somewhere there, so... Probably Krakow, yeah. So, yeah. Man, half of my freaking friends list in Poland, dude. Yeah. You found Barons from Poland? A lot of people are from Poland. Lodz. How do you say Lodz? Is it Lodz or Lodz? Lidge. I can't, dude. My throat is starting to give away. I've not talked this long in this long. For this long in this long. This is actually really exhausting. I feel like I might get sick tomorrow. This actually is a thing. When you speak for a really long time, after not having spoken for a really long time, you start to actually lose your voice. So I'll have to call it quits, man. I'm gonna have to call it quits. Yeah, so I took the video down, right? Okay, the video's down, so I don't have to worry about yeah. I've lost 44 subscribers in the last 28 days. Oh, boo-hoo. If I only gave a fuck. Oh, yeah, I can't be fucked, man. Alright, close that. Gonna close the stream. I don't need Strava. I don't need any of this. Just gonna close everything down. I hear some music. Oh, it's weird. Freaking I'm a weird person. Amazing stream again. Thank you, dude. Look, guys, I'll think about it. I know I mentioned this before. There was that ambassadorship that I was trying to do for that one company. Unfortunately, they seem to have requirements that are set so high that no one can get to them. And I've been very busy with with actual work and cycling. I'm actually going to probably send them an email, give them a few of my thoughts, especially now with Corona, with everything getting pushed back. I don't even know if they're going to do the thing. So I'm very uneasy even like bothering to create any kind of content if I'm not going to have a real opportunity to actually be given something. So I'll probably just reach out to the guy, give him some questions, see what he says. So if I do get any kind of green light, I will try to post something just to throw some content on YouTube, even if it's completely unrelated, and just see what people like. Throw like 3 different ideas out there, see whatever people like, see what the people don't like, and then go on from there. But 100%, if it's cooking content, it will be POV GoPro, very generic. If it's cycling, it'll be POV GoPro, very generic. And if it's a podcast, I don't know yet. What I could do is, in which case, you're on YouTube right now listening to this. I've taken the stream clip of what this is, and I've just turned it into a video recording without my face on it, with some background shit, and you're now listening to it. So if you like it, whatever, like it. If you don't, dislike it, comment. I don't even know what the fuck I'm saying. I'm tight. My voice is starting to kick out. 3 hours, 17 minutes, and 35 seconds. Sayonara. Cheers.